Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
One more for the Big 12 Player of the Year. He banked it in. He didn't mean to. He banked it in. Arkansas throws it into Kamani, back to Black. Vegas, baby! Vegas, baby! Hogs are going to the Sweet 16! Hogs are going to the Sweet 16! Vegas, baby! The Razorbacks, for the third straight year, are headed to the Sweet 16, 72-71, the final over Kansas. For the sixth time in 7 years, the defending national champions are out in the round of 32. Eric Musselman's over here right now. Mush.
Incredible.
Mush coming over, talking to the crowd. He's going to take his shirt off. He's going to take his shirt off. Musselman over here. Eric Musselman taking his shirt off. And they're calling the Hogs with the Razorback head coach.
Well, that was the call from Arkansas's big win over Kansas. And we talked a lot about Eric Musselman yesterday with his shirt off. In his finest moments as an Arkansas coach, he seems to always have his shirt off. That was a great call from over the weekend. We'll keep opening the show with more calls throughout the NCAA tournament. Fun way to open the show. But you're on with Sports Time on a Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you over the next 3 hours. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studio over across the river in the great state of Arkansas. Brett Norsworthy with us. Brett, that was a fantastic call from over the weekend as your alma mater beat the defending national championships to get a spot in the upcoming Sweet 16.
It was, Bryant, to set off a wild celebration. I talked about it yesterday. Arkansas's had just so many big wins in its storied basketball history. And, they win it all. They played for it all a couple of times. Been in national semifinals a lot. Been in a lot of Final Fours, a lot of Elite Eights, big regular season wins at Rupp, and even in the Southwest Conference. A lot of those wins. But that one was really special. And you heard in that Nat sound, that sound behind Chuck, you could hear that thrill of victory. Mm-hmm. And when we have this audio, I much prefer. We want to thank Chuck Barrett and the Arkansas Razorback Sports Network and Learfield Audio for that. I want to sure give them credit and thank them for allowing us to run it. But you hear that thrill of victory. I don't think there's anything better, Bryant, than that magic moment. Whenever Pete knows it's over and it's hammer, nail, coffin, or Jack Buck, that's a winner. Whatever the great radio calls of so many people in that industry that we love and we appreciate. But when they have that thrill of victory and you can hear it, and then they broke into calling the Hogs, and now I've told a lot of my buddies, I said, I always tell all my friends that go to Vegas, if you need my wheelbarrow to bring home all the winnings, all you got to do is call me.
Give me a call.
I'll bring it out there. We'll stack it high, and we'll get back home with all the winnings. And for a lot of Razorback fans heading to Vegas, you better have a good bail bondsman you can call, because I think there's a potential for a lot of legendary stories out of Vegas.
Well, isn't that always the case when anybody goes to Vegas? I mean, you never know what's going to happen. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
It's the reason why you leave everything out there. I hear. I've never been, and I turned down a pretty good trip to go, but because I'm going to take some time off in a few weeks, so I don't need to be away that much. But that was fun to hear that call from Arkansas headed to the Sweet 16. We'll talk Sweet 16 today, and we're going to have fun with a little exercise concerning Sweet 16, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna do that about 4:30. We're gonna rank our Sweet 16 1 through 16. It was difficult today when I sat down and started looking at all 16 teams that were in there, because I think there's a couple ways you could go about doing it. I mean, obviously you could do it by prestige, how they're playing. I think Jay Morgan, I don't know his list, but maybe going by, he always points out what how these teams look offensively, scheme wise.
Now you're giving away my game.
I'm sorry, I just know that's what you've been pointing out. Maybe you could do it like that. There's a lot of different ways of how you could rank these 16 teams. So I think it's going to be fun around 4:30 when we get into that for sure.
And tomorrow, y'all get ready for this. Get your homework ready, and we want people's. They may not want to do all 16, but I want your greatest player, just one, for all 16. Go all the way down the list.
Wow, that would be really tough. You get into some of those schools, and you might be digging for a name or two. But that should be fun. A lot of
like Miami.
Yeah.
Seriously, who's the most famous player ever?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Have to do my homework on that.
I think it's Rick Barry, but it was a long time ago.
I'm going to have to start on that tonight. That's not going to be something I can put off till tomorrow to work on. I'm going to have to start on that right when we get off.
Rick Barry's numbers retired at Miami too, but they also do something weird where they have a bunch of gold uniform numbers that are retired. But then they also have a bunch of green uniforms with the number on them. But those aren't retired numbers. Those are just honored players. So they have a Hall of Fame with retired numbers and then just honored players. So
interesting.
It was interesting.
Well,
and quite arguably, Creighton's greatest player maybe was Paul Silas, the father of Houston Rockets head coach Stephen Silas. And Paul Silas sadly just passed away a month or so ago, and the news breaking now of an NBA legend who played college at Grambling but was legendary New York Knickerbocker, the passing of the great Willis Reed. And I've told y'all many times, I've always talked about it through the years, that was my team. I was a Knicks fan when Willis Reed, and I'll never forget, just a huge barrel-chested man, built very much like Zebo. And I always thought his game was close to Zach Randolph's, left-handed, around the bucket, very crafty, some funky angles with shots and stuff. But when Willis Reed would go to the free throw line and they'd have that camera shot kind of on the baseline looking toward the free throw shooter, kind of under the goal, and he would take a big breath, and that gigantic chest would just swell up. And I'm watching him, as a little kid watching him. I mean, my goodness, he just seemed bigger than life, and he was, and famous for that game where he returned in the game, and that propelled the Knicks to one of their titles. But those Knicks teams, that was my favorite. And Princeton's number one player is going to be one of those Knicks, Bill Bradley.
I was about to say Bill Bradley, Walt Frazier on that team.
Can you
Dick Barnett,
Dave
Busher, Phil Jackson.
Wow, a lot of names. Could you pick a current player, as your greatest player?
Sure, you can.
Okay.
Dave DeBoucher.
No.
Dave DeBuscher.
Oh man, I made it too nice.
Yeah. It's Dave DeBuscher. Mike Reardon was on that team. Earl the Pearl was on those teams in those years.
Wow.
Quite a fancy team, quite a star-laden team. You sure could. Arguably, I know 1 year. This is for tomorrow. We can take this up again tomorrow. But Brandon Miller.
You can make that argument.
Me and John have had that show.
Have had that argument.
We have.
You could. I was going more a West Coast team. Maybe not Drew as far
Timmy?
West Coast. Yeah, Drew Timmy.
Yeah.
Adam
Mr.
Morrison.
Headband.
That's
And the fun one's going to be one of the fun ones going to be for UCLA. Oh, you want to feel really old over the weekend? Did you see who was playing? And they got beat. Chuck O'Bannon, Ed O'Bannon's son.
Yeah. I can't remember who he plays for. Who's he play for?
Who did he play for? I watched a lot of the game, and I can't remember.
He's
it was
good,
so much
too.
basketball. Was it for
TCU?
TCU. That's
TCU,
right.
that's
Yeah.
right, for Jamie Dixon.
He's good. He's played a big role on that team. Yeah.
Sure did. And, man, his dad was MOP of the tournament like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's we're
1995. I mean,
you've mentioned that a couple of times where we're in the era where a lot of kids are playing and even getting into close to being some grandkids are playing from guys you've seen play.
Next fall when Arch Manning runs on the field, whoo, man, that's going to hit because that is my hero of all time's grandson.
That's your
wow.
That's your computer background. Not to put your business out there, Brett.
It is.
And Eli and his uncle.
And Eli, that's right, both of them.
Grandfather and uncle. Now Arch. Ooh.
I think the first time it hit me was when Peyton played, and I don't know if it was the same day. I don't think it might have been a year apart. But Peyton Manning is playing and obviously going to be a star and playing for Northwestern football that same day. Northwestern and Notre Dame's on TV too, and we're watching games before we go to a game at Vandy between Alabama and Vandy. And when the announcer said, back to receive the punt for Northwestern, Brian Musso, I went, oh, no, it can't be. It's Johnny Musso's kid back there running back punts. I'm going, how does this happen to me?
I'm just now getting into that phenomenon, Brett.
Yeah.
Like Kenyon Martin's son playing a lot. I'm trying to think of another one that comes to mind.
For me to go to AutoZone Park and see Eduardo Perez, and of course, y'all know what my go-to play was at AutoZone Park, Brian.
Everyone's going to be the next great manager.
Be a big league manager someday.
Be Skip someday.
Baseball's a great one, too.
Got it right a couple times.
Bo Bichette. I remember growing up watching Dante Bichette play. Baseball has so many of them.
Toronto's got all the sons
of them.
Oh, that's where all go to play.
Guerrero.
Guerrero Jr. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Fernando Tatis apparently has a second son that's about to play in Major Leagues as well. That's really good.
Yeah. His Fernando Tatis Jr.'s little brother is really good, is what I've heard.
Crazy.
Wow, are you
like
kidding
16,
me? I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really good.
The Fernando Tatis note. I mean, you talk never. That's a big word. That is a long. Ever and never are a really, really, really long time. You better be careful with using it too much. But I will go there. Never will there be two grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher ever again. I went never and ever.
There's too many factors in there for it to be repeatable even.
Yeah.
You got to go through the whole way through the lineup. The pitcher has to not get pulled that entire time. No, there's no way. I agree with you, Brett.
No way.
But Brett,
no way.
Brett, didn't you say last week there would never, ever be a 16/1
This
again?
is – I would Brett on this one.
Know? What's that guy? What's he know from last week?
I'm in with you, Brett. This is one I'm 100% behind.
I think you're right. But that was great. You predicted you called for the 16 to beat the 1. You jinxed it.
And y'all are being too kind. Went the extra mile and said that I said the Fairleigh Dickinson Texas Southern game is the worst matchup in the history of the NCAA tournament.
Well, to your credit, it was a bad matchup.
Hey, but it wasn't Fairleigh Dickinson's fault. It was Texas Southern's fault. Win some games.
Win some games. What were they, 15 losses in the NCAA tournament?
No, more than that, right?
20 losses?
I think it was 20.
Or
that can't be 20.
I thought they were 20 and 15 maybe.
Y'all know the great Twitter take, meme, whatever it is, kind of conversation of, come on, man, that guy's got a family.
Yeah.
Last night I thought about that. Poor Theo Pinson.
Oh, man.
Dylan Brooks.
Cheerleader.
Dylan Brooks calling him out.
It's, it happens, I guess, especially with Dylan Brooks. But a good win for the Grizzlies, 112-108 over Dallas. And like you said, Dylan Brooks getting another technical for dancing after suspension coming up.
Texas Southern was 11-20 in the regular season this year.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
NCAA tournament team.
Well, that's what happens when you win the tournament.
Actually, right, but
you were.
My take was neither one could do anything, and then Fairleigh Dickinson makes history.
It's okay. It happens.
What's the Fairleigh Dickinson joke, Jay Morgan? I love the punchline.
How Dickinson are they?
Extremely.
No, they're Fairleigh Dickinson, Brian.
Well, after beating a 1 seed, you're extremely.
Just fairly.
But
next year, if we reference them all year, we will reference them extremely Dickinson.
Extremely Dickinson.
right.
I don't know how much we'll be referencing Fairleigh Dickinson
either.
next year, seeing as we didn't reference them at all until
And now that
they made the tournament.
no more
No,
Tobin
Brian- no,
Anderson.
Brian.
Tobin Anderson.
You did a week or so ago. You had the take
That's
on
true.
how short they were.
They're a small team, very small team. But hopefully they'll get a little bigger next year because those two guards are leaving that made them so short. But
I'm not counting on growth spurts.
no, me neither. But maybe you bring in some big guys to supplement the roster. But back to the Grizzlies game, you said it, Jay. Another technical means a suspension for Dylan Brooks. I know we've talked about it a lot with guests, but Brett, before we get to top and not top story, what do you think about all of these technical fouls for Dylan Brooks? I mean, how do you feel? We've gotten to the point where he's been fined, a suspension upcoming, the one-game suspension a week ago. They asked him after the game about all of these fines he's been getting. He said, well, that's just paper. It doesn't matter that much to me. I mean, what's your thought process in all of kind of that's happened with the Grizzlies this season? This has kind of been a story that's almost flown a little bit under the radar.
Sure has. Up to this point, no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
From this point on, you're hurting the team.
Yeah.
And his quote about it's just paper. It is to him.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said about Ja, it's his money. Now, one thing about the fines is they do get to write all that off because it ultimately goes to charity. So those players, they largely don't mind that. All I'll say, and it's what I said last week about Ja and the picture of all the money and Dylan Brooks saying that, almost $300,000 is just paper. And it is them. It's their money.
Yeah.
They've worked hard. They've earned every dime of it.
Absolutely.
I just hope someday, they don't need that.
Yeah.
Then it would be really sad because we've seen a lot of really tough luck, bad break, sad ending stories.
Oh, yeah.
And it could be for anybody across any sport. Heck, it could be anybody for any walk of life that maybe blows money. And at some point, someday, man, I wish I really had that back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's been a lot of sad stories about that happening.
I'd
in
really
all
like to
sports,
have the money back I spent on the 2004 World Series against the Red Sox because it was an utter waste.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see what ultimately happens. Maybe it's almost kind of the same thing, not in terms of how big it is with Ja and kind of the decisions, but I think at some point you need to kind of have that discussion with Dylan Brooks of, like you said, I mean, we're getting to the point where you're starting to hurt the team with these technicals. It's not where it's just hurting your paycheck. It's going to start hurting the team. So I think it's interesting, and I think we'll get back into that conversation a little later. But let me set up today's show before we get into top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, will have our final visit with him until football season gets kicked back up. We'll talk about his trip to Columbus and what the Tigers did over the weekend in their loss to Florida Atlantic. At 3:45, we'll get back into this conversation about the Grizzlies and their win last night against the Mavericks. At 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville will join us to talk some college basketball and a little college football. 4:30, we mentioned it earlier, we're going to rank our Sweet 16, 1 through 16, the teams remaining, who's the best, who's the worst of the remaining teams. 4:45, we'll do big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Beau Marchant will join us to talk some NFL as we've just got news on top of news with the offseason and free agency really starting to kick up. At 5:30, we'll talk about what's trending. And in that segment, Jason Munns today wrote a story about who could be returning to the Tigers, who's leaving, what he's heard around the program. We'll get into a little bit of that and kind of what this roster makeup is going to look like going into next season and what we think Penny Hardaway and that staff needs to do to kind of fill out that roster going into next year. And then at 5:45, we'll wrap it up like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Preseason patio and pool sales are going on right now, so buy now and save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture. Pool season, it's just around the corner, so buy now to get ahead of that summertime rush with the early bird pricing. Free layaway and special financing are available, so be ready to enjoy your backyard as soon as spring hits. And mention this ad to get half off delivery and installation at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them for any service inquiry at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day is what the Grizzlies did last night at home against the Dallas Mavericks in a 112-108 win over the Mavericks. They've now won 3 games in a row in 6 of their last 7 games, so things are really looking good, as it looks like Ja Morant probably back in the lineup Wednesday night against Houston. I thought the Grizzlies showed a lot last night. I mean, the Mavs led from 6 minutes and 46 seconds left in the second quarter all the way to 4 minutes and 53 seconds left in the fourth quarter. In that span, they had a 16-point lead late in the third quarter, and the Grizzlies were still able to battle back and take the lead late in the fourth quarter and secure a good win over a good Dallas Mavericks team. I know there were some guys out with injuries, but still a good win for that team. Ja Morant was back on the sideline. You were there, Brett, so you can tell me. I think I heard and kind of saw on video that when he came out to kind of join the team on the bench, that he got a standing ovation. A lot of people very excited to see him back with the team. So hopefully going into Wednesday, he'll play. I know there's been a lot of talk of maybe him coming off the bench to start off. It was being reported last night that he, after the game, told the team, I want to come off the bench. Y'all have been playing really well right now, and I don't want to mess anything up. I would feel more comfortable coming off the bench right now. And Dylan Brooks said, absolutely not. You're not coming off the bench. But Taylor Jenkins said today that is a possibility. He might come off the bench. So we'll see. But the biggest news is it does look like he'll be back in the lineup somewhere Wednesday night.
Yeah, somewhere tomorrow night he will be announced into the game, whether it's announced in the starting lineup or when he gets up to go to the scorer's table to check in at some point in the first quarter. It will be a big ovation for the Grizzlies superstar. And that crowd last night, big Monday night crowd, I mean, stoked and rocking. And I was afraid might have too big a hold to come back from, but they did. That's my top story, and I knew they were going to come back. You know how I knew it? Because last night was my 11th Grizzlies game in person this year. I'm 10-1 in those games.
Wow.
My only loss this year way back in October to Boston. So I've won now 9 in a row to go to 10-1 on the year. The Grizzlies, they are officially hot again, and Dylan Brooks has officially gotten another tech, and Ja Morant will officially be back tomorrow night. Another win for the Grizzlies against the Luka-less Mavericks. But the Grizzlies are without a lot, too. They were without Steven Adams, but we're going to be without Brandon Clark the rest of the year. And last night, still without Ja Morant. So help is on the way. Now 17 over 500. Tomorrow night can match the season high of 18 over 500. And then Friday night can have a new high water mark of 19 over 500 as they will play the Rockets in back-to-back games tomorrow night and on Friday night at FedEx Forum.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day is tonight's championship game in the World Baseball Classic between the United States and Japan. Japan won off a walk-off last night against Mexico, a really fun back-and-forth game. But I've really enjoyed the World Baseball Classic. I have seen the games of the teams that have played in the United States. I haven't watched any of the games that happened in Tokyo because they happen at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to wake up that early to watch these games, but there's kind of been a lot of back and forth in the baseball community. Half of it seems to love the World Baseball Classic. The other half hates the World Baseball Classic and thinks it shouldn't exist anymore. I don't really care. I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I feel like I land somewhere in the middle. I'll watch the games if they're on. Who cares? There's some people who are even going out and saying, I hope, after the Edwin Diaz injury, I hope at least one player on every MLB team gets injured in the World Baseball Classic, and that will show the MLB teams that these guys shouldn't be able to compete in this tournament. And I think that's a little too far, but
that's Mets fans talking.
Exactly. But it seems like the players really enjoy it. They love representing their country, and it seems like they're all having fun and enjoying it. So I like it, and we'll see who comes out as champion tonight at 6 o'clock on FS1.
You're telling me something I didn't know. I didn't know it was 2 sites for the World Baseball Classic.
There were multiple. The round robin games were in Arizona, Miami, Tokyo, and Taiwan, I think.
Okay.
So they all played in their round robin in different places, and then the semifinals and championship are in Miami.
I was saving this for crunch time tonight, but I will peek in tonight at the championship game. The much-awaited pitching matchup of Merrill Kelly versus Shota Amenaga.
Wow.
Are you ready for that one tonight?
I can't wait. Star-studded.
My not top story, from 68 down to 16 with so many great stories. As we said yesterday, only Tom Izzo can repeat as a winning coach. So 15 guys with a shot at coaching immortality. Bama, San Diego State, Creighton, Tennessee, and FAU and Xavier. They can all go to their first Final Four ever. UT's only been to an Elite Eight once. That was with Bruce Pearl in 2010 when they lost a heartbreaker to Tom Izzo at Michigan State.
Wow. Whew. That'd be fun. I know Jay would like to see the Vols in the Final Four.
Yes, I bleed orange.
VFL.
VFL, that's right.
I'm
the captain of the Vol Navy.
That's right. Always forget. Vol Navy, Vol Army. You never know.
No, it's very different.
Vol for life.
VFL.
Navy and Army, very different.
GBO.
GBO, go Big Orange. I love that one.
The Vol Marines.
Right, no, right. You're closet Tennessee
Yeah,
guy. I can tell.
fan.
Bleeds orange.
I keep up with them.
You keep up with them.
No closet.
You won't go that far. But, it's going to be a fun Sweet 16. I'm excited. A lot of really fun games. I know it's going to come down UCLA Gonzaga with our bracket. That's going
to be – I ate lunch yesterday with someone that is a huge Tennessee fan. I ate lunch with her at Jason's Deli. I'll talk about it when we get to Jason's Deli time later today. It was great.
Okay. I can't wait. I was thinking about this earlier before we get to a break. How much are y'all going to hate when I win Tiger Bankroll, the bracket, and golf picks?
I'll blame it on Gabe.
I'm coming for all of it. I'm coming for golf picks, too.
We can't blame it all on Gabe.
I
can't allow that now. That's a bridge too far. I'm not going to hate because it's not going to happen.
That's right. I like that answer better. I like that.
Well, it's going to be fun in a couple. I can't wait to get to golf picks in a couple of weeks. But
and I will tell you, and we got one coming up. I have never lost ever to a co-host a bracket challenge.
This weekend, it's going to determine a lot.
Certainly not going to lose to me.
Might not lose to me either. You're in the lead right now. You're in a good spot. We'll see what happens. But let's get to a break. When we come back, Dave Woloshin, voice of the Tigers, will join us for his last visit on Sportstime football season. We'll talk a lot of college basketball with him and what the Tigers did over the weekend. That's next on Sportstime.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best-kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
I know you're thinking about pools and patios right now. Don't deny it. They're on your mind. So it's a good thing that Family Leisure is having their pre-season patio and pool sale. It's like they're mind readers. You can buy now and save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture. You want free layaway? Done. You want special financing? Done. You want to be ready to enjoy your backyard just as soon as spring hits? Family Leisure has you covered. Patio and pool season's not that far away. So now's the time to take advantage of this fantastic early bird pricing special. Now here comes the really special part. If you mention this commercial, you get half off delivery and installation. I'll let that sink in for a second. You heard me right, my friends. You mentioned this very commercial, and Family Leisure will give you half off delivery and installation. The preseason patio and pool sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes. Metro Builders. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. Metro Builders, your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with Metro Builders. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you, and we talked a lot about it yesterday, but the Tigers lost to Florida Atlantic Friday night, and joining us was their calling the game. Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, is with us now. Dave, thanks for joining us. I guess first off, how was your trip to Columbus and experiencing that first round, seeing the Fairleigh Dickinson upset over Purdue? How much did you enjoy your time in Columbus outside of, obviously, the Tigers' loss?
Actually, the whole experience was awful, if you want to know the truth, Brian. As I let Brett know, I right before we were leaving for Columbus, I got this scratchy throat.
Mm-hmm.
I have not had a cold since COVID. This is the truth.
Really?
Probably because, I think it's because we wash our hands more now.
Yeah.
I was wearing a mask. I was really doing good. But I wasn't such a good boy in Dallas when Memphis was, winning beating a number one for the first time and winning the American Athletic Conference tournament for the first time. So there were a lot of good people there, a lot of good times, a lot of games, probably a little too much fun. And so as we're getting ready to go to Columbia, South Carolina, I get that darn little scratchy thing that I know is bad. So I got sick as a dog, to make a long story short. Thank God for trainer Daryl Turner, because the night before we played, he gave me really some very good drugs that knocked the cold out. At least I was 80% when I did the game. I didn't feel terrible. My voice was not 100%, but we finally beat the cold. I still have some remnants of it, to be honest with you. But I was sick as a dog, so I never enjoyed really 1 minute of Columbus. I was told I had to go see the Jack Nicklaus Museum by a guy named Stas Norsworthy. I had 2 or 3 different recommendations of restaurants, including a Jewish deli that's like 100 years old that I wanted to go to. I did nothing of that, although I did go next door to Nationwide Arena. Was one of the best Philly cheese places I've ever been to. That was about the only good thing that occurred to me in Columbus. And then, as sick as I was, I got sicker watching the game with Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. And Dave, you tell me if I'm being overly dramatic with this, because I was worried about you because I was texting with you, and I knew you were feeling really puny, and it takes a lot to knock you off stride. If the Tigers had been the 11 o'clock game on Friday morning, could you have answered the bell? I think you needed all day Friday to get ready for game time.
You know what? I could have. If I had to do that game on Thursday, that would have been real sketchy, honestly.
Yeah.
Because that was when I was really feeling bad, and that was prior to me getting those drugs. I actually got them, the first set of drugs I got during the interview segment of the Thursday press conferences. So I went into the locker room, saw Darryl, told him my plight. He gave me what he had there, and he said, "Come see me at the hotel." And then he gave me a steroid pack at the hotel, and that
reinforcements
and these green things that look like what are those? Those yellow, red, green, purple things that you get that are like little candy things.
Dave, in the 80s, we called them Quaaludes.
No.
I kid.
These are things your grandparents would give you.
Yeah.
Whatever those candies were, that's what this was like. So in the locker room, he gave me these red things. When I got to the hotel, he gave me that steroid tech and these green things. He said, "Take them at night." And man, they knocked me out. I got
like a sledgehammer
after that. But I wouldn't have been able to do Thursday. That would have been a real hard time.
Dave, I swear, that's when I got worried about you. But
Chuckles, that's what they were called.
I got worried about you because I know how much you love him and love golf. When you told me I can't go to the Nicklaus Museum, I go, uh-oh. We may need to send Dave to the emergency room. Instead, you were there and you did see history. I'm not making excuses at all for either side because both played in the same arena. Do you think that took a little of the energy out of the building for the last game of that Friday session with all the emotion that went into FDU's upset?
No, I don't. I think it might have enhanced it because both Florida Atlantic and Memphis knew now they've got a clear path to New York. So I don't think so. I will tell you how amazed I am. These are all neutral site floors now, except in Birmingham. And Nationwide Arena, we looked it up. It seats 20,000. They had 19,500, and I thought they were lying about the 500. I am telling you, the 2 sessions I was in attendance of, they were jam packed. I mean, it's like 3 levels all the way to the top of that arena. People in there from all the different schools. It was so loud. The Michigan State USC game, even with USC a long way away, I got to see Boogie Ellis's last game. I mean, that was an incredible crowd and a good game, and I knew how good Michigan State was from that. Then the Marquette game, that was with Vermont. I was amazed how many people from Vermont came. But Marquette had a huge, strong, and that was electric. And then in the Purdue session, there were a lot of people from Purdue. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know how many of them stuck around. That might have been the smallest crowd of the 4, the Florida Atlantic and Memphis. But Memphis had a lot of people there.
Good.
And I don't think there was any diminishing of energy or enthusiasm because both those teams knew that as good as Shirley Dickinson was, they weren't going to do that twice in a row, that the path was clear for you to get to New York.
Yeah. Well, getting into the Memphis Florida Atlantic game, I mean, what were your thoughts on it? Obviously, Florida Atlantic came out pretty strong, got a 10-point lead early, but Tigers fight back, take the lead at halftime, and then really kind of controlled a lot of the early parts of the second half before Florida Atlantic started making their runs late in that game. But what did you think of the loss for the Tigers?
Well, when they're up 7 with 10 to go, I really kind of thought, okay, now they're gonna pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And that did not happen. And then there was the disaster of the last couple of minutes. And as much as really it comes down to Kendrick Davis making a major mistake. Here's your superstar. Here's one of the best players I think I've had the fun of watching over the last year.
Yeah.
I put him in, and I know, Brett, I think you'll find this interesting, but of unique people that were great players and great interviews, the two best that I know of were Kendrick Davis and CDR. This is a smart guy. This is a guy who views things analytically. His grammar may not be the greatest, neither was CDR's, but they're smart dudes.
You said Josh Minot was in that league last year, too.
Yeah, but you know what? I hate to say this about Josh. Josh initially was that way, but then he gave the same sort of speech every time. It was like,
it's a great point.
I want to show off my vocabulary, but I don't have a whole lot of substance to thought. That was my opinion of Josh.
Where would you, Dave? You really piqued my interest with it. Where would you rank Keith Lee in that? Because Keith was so quiet.
He wouldn't talk to you. You
Right.
know what? In years later, I would love talking to Keith Lee. But Keith didn't want to talk to reporters.
Dave, we got to do the book. We got to do the book, man. We got to do it while we're still upright.
Yeah. So, no, Keith, later in his career, he found religion. So he would thank God a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was lovely. But he would never tell you anything because he really didn't want to talk to you. That's the honest to goodness truth.
He just didn't trust anybody, did he?
Later, when he did finally get out and matured and everything else, he was really unhappy with the way his perception was of how he was treated by the university. And he did give a lot to that university. And so, again, he didn't really have a whole lot to say. I think Keith would be a really interesting guy to sit down to if he would open up and tell you all of his thoughts, what went on. It would be a great story. I don't know if he'll ever be ready to do that.
Yeah. Talking to Dave Woloshin, voice of the Tigers, also the host of Wolo and Friends every morning at 10 a.m. One of the biggest problems I saw for the Tigers in that game against Florida Atlantic was the rebound. I mean, you get out-rebounded 39-36. On the offensive glass, Florida Atlantic out-rebounded them 18-13. How big of an issue was that really all season, and how detrimental to the game was it Friday night?
You know, what were the points off the second chance points? You got to look at that.
Yeah.
To really get a better understanding, and I don't have that. I should, but I don't have the box score in
It
front
looks
of me.
like second chance points, Florida Atlantic 16, Memphis 14.
So it's a 2-point difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that played into it. What played into it, honestly, if we come to the end of this thing, is the KD, and this is where I was going. He made a big mistake.
Yeah.
He threw the ball away. Now, was he upset still and maybe hurting because he felt there should have been a foul call when he was not given the space to come down from a three? Was he then distracted by whatever occurred on the bench with Malcolm Dandridge? I don't know. Or did he just lose his cool? You know, we saw that with Virginia and a guy who was an experienced player throw one up for grabs. KD says in retrospect that he was fearful the 10 seconds were going to be up, and he had to get rid of the ball for that reason. But if you're intellectualizing that your 10 seconds is about up, call timeout.
Mm-hmm.
You could have called timeout. Mm-hmm. So this becomes a fatal error by Kendrick Davis. And unfortunately, that's going to be a part of his legacy. The same way that Memphis didn't make free throws and they didn't foul Mario Chalmers, or the same way that that Chris Garner got caught on a hand check of Corey Beck against Arkansas in a game that would have gotten you to the Final Four. All of these things are a part of Memphis's NCAA lore now. And then, of course, there is the non-call of the timeout. And I'm watching it. I saw them both yell timeout. I'm pretty sure Alo actually signaled timeout. And so it's just unfortunate that that referee did not hear, see, or acknowledge a timeout call, because that becomes the difference in the game.
Dave, did this sideline rancor, do you know, as best you can report or tell or divulge, or you may not, did that carry on after the game, or was it satisfied, or was it heated in the locker room?
I do not know. You know, the locker room was opened. We're back to open locker rooms at these things now. Not at the American Athletic Conference tournament, which I was surprised at, but at the NCAAs, they're all back open again, first time since COVID. And I'm very happy about that and appreciative. But, you know, I was tethered to the broadcast spot where we were because I knew Penny and I thought maybe a player or two was going to come out. So I did not go back to the locker room, and I've never heard a clear story. I just know the two guys that got into it were KD and Malcolm.
Correct. Dave, this question for you. 5 years into Coach Penny Hardaway's tenure, what do you think the expectations are over the next 2 or 3 years for NCAA tournament success? What do you think Laird would go to him and go, hey, Coach, over the next 2 or 3 years, this is what we got to do? What do you think those expectations fairly are?
Well, I think you got to get to the Sweet 16 and then go from there. I mean, you know, that's the next step. You know, that's how John Calipari did it, really.
Yeah.
Won an NIT, went to the NCAA, went to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, and finally got into the big dance to the Final Four. And I think that's really possible. This is sort of kind of a bonus year, and maybe that's unfair for most fans' expectations. You know, you tell me, Brett, you've been around here, you've seen these fans' expectations as much as I have, but this was the final year where the IARP shadow was looming. This was a year where you weren't supposed to get great guys, and you didn't get the top recruits that you normally did because that shadow was looming. But now it's clear. You did sign a 5-star and several 4-stars.
Mm-hmm.
You do have the moniker now of being a guy who can take portal guys and make them stars. Basically, that's what KD came for. He wanted to be a guy that could be elevated to the top level. Third-team All-American in Mike DeCourcy's Sporting News team. I think that's elevation. I don't think he would have gotten that at SMU. He got that at Memphis. So I think he's going to do a really good job with the portal. I think the next step has to be you got to go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of already seen what they've done in last year going to the second round of 32 in the first round this year. So, yeah, I think that's definitely needs to be the next step. But, Dave, thanks for joining us. Enjoy kind of the off season. You got a little bit of time here where you can relax a little bit before football season kicks back up. But thanks for joining us.
Hey, I got a softball game Friday night, guys.
Oh, and you also did women's basketball last night.
I did it, and that was, you know, let me just say this. I said it on my show. What Katrina Merriweather has done in 2 years is amazing.
Yeah.
It is really amazing. I hope Memphis can keep her because I think she's going to be a hot commodity.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. But, Dave, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again
Hey, Brad,
close to football season.
Looking forward to tomorrow. Just tell me this. If you were Eric Musselman, or let's say you had Eric Musselman's physique, would you have taken your shirt off?
Dave, I don't have Eric Musselman's physique, and I'm actually totally nude as we speak.
I know that's a lie. You're on Twitter and you're on Facebook. That's a lie.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
You got it.
I guess go to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube to see if Brett is actually nude or not.
The best advertising you can do right there.
That'll drive hits, won't it?
That's right.
Sure will. I mean, we're about to skyrocket.
Hey, in 3, 2, 1, a text from Shay or Dr. Flynn's coming in. I kid.
Oh, man, that knocked me off, I'll be honest. I did not expect that response. That was good. Oh, but Dave Woloshin, voice of the Tigers, you can also hear him every morning on Wolo and Friends at 10 a.m. But let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll get back into the Grizzlies conversation and talk about their win last night over Dallas. That's next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. You've known the name for 30 years. You might even remember him from nearly 20 years on Kix 106 as half of the Young and Elder Show. Now, 13 years later, Brian Elder is the largest purchaser of Owens Corning shingles in Memphis. Call him right now, 867-0303. Certified and trained by Owens Corning to earn a reputation for quality and expertise matched by no one. Don't let them tell you it has to be replaced when all it needs is a repair. Call right now, 867-0303. He'll climb every inch of your roof. He'll go into your attic and run a moisture and ventilation test using state-of-the-art equipment to make certain you're protected from mold and other contaminants. You may be causing respiratory problems for your family and not even know it. We're waiting for your call, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Showboats are back in Memphis. We can't wait to have you for the USFL. Let's go. Ticket prices start at just $10 for their long-awaited homecoming season. Way to the house. April 15th starts a new era of pro football at the Liberty Bowl when the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Bring the whole family and don't miss the Showboats' historic return. It's a touchdown. Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866988, MSRP 22,945. K5 PG 200 MSRP 26,455. Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance 200. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to give Memphis your best deals at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
That's what I always do, Randy. How about a 2023 Kia Soul LX, only $333 a month and $27.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury? 2023 Kia K5 LX access, $362 a month, or $31.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Or how about the 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive?
We got it at $381 per month, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And don't forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And Jeff, what if I don't see exactly what I want?
I'll order it for you, Randy, so whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. As we wrap up this first hour on this March 21st edition of Sports Time. Jay, you messed me up.
What did I do? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I apologize.
You showed me my water cup that I left in there, and it just knocked me all off because you always say I leave my water cup in there. But
do you need to go get it? I can feel.
No, I'm good. I'm good right now. But Jay just hates when I leave stuff in there.
I don't blame him. I like a clean control room.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Bryant leaving stuff everywhere, playing with the scissors.
You know it's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah,
biggest ever.
It is what it is.
Bryant, that last question I asked Dave. Mm-hmm. No, and I'm not talking about the Eric Musselman shirt. The last serious question we made with Dave. And I would love to hear listeners, and I would love to hear people's thoughts on this. 901-360-8255. 5 years in, what do you expect the next 5 to look like? And after, because by no means, I didn't get close. I didn't get in the ballpark. I didn't get in the time zone yesterday of a change. That's crazy talk. No. There's no change at the University of Memphis. They've got a coach that I've said all year I think's really growing, really hitting his stride, the best yet to come. But if this time next year was really didn't find a young point guard that could handle it, NIT, 2 years from now, out in the first, or not make second weekend, out in the first or second round, what does that make year 8 look like?
I mean, that's a good question. I think it has a lot to do with you don't want to see regression. I mean, you've kind of gotten to the NCAA tournament in back-to-back years. I think everyone can agree that your conference is getting weaker going into next season. You're losing some teams that have been key figures in the league, even though they haven't really done much in terms of winning conference championship. I mean, they've all been in that. Cincinnati, UCF, they've been tough opponents for the Tigers in the past couple of years. I just don't think you want to see that regression of, hey, maybe next year after, you're in the NIT again. You know, you've kind of gotten. Go ahead.
Except for Texas San Antonio, all the new teams coming in, the Tigers have been in a conference with all of them before.
Yeah.
North Texas in the Valley, Rice in the CUSA, CUSA, Charlotte in the Great Midwest.
I didn't know that. So a lot of familiarity.
That's a great point too, Brett, because now it makes it easier for I don't know if you want to call us critics or just analysts or whatever the case might be to compare Coach Hardaway's job directly to some of the best coaches in the history of the University of Memphis, like the John Calipari, or some not, like Josh Pastner too.
Yeah.
These are it's going to look like a very similar league to exactly the same one, the ones they played. Coached.
Okay, you can correctly. It's almost unarguable. The trend line is certainly there with Cal's start, but Cal then got on the rocket ship.
Yeah.
Is it really? Do Tiger fans fear that this is really more Cal or really more Josh?
Well, I mean, I think that's how you it's almost like that glass half full, glass half empty look at it. I mean, I think the people who are being positive right now are looking at it and saying, well, look at how he's compared to Cal. And I think the people who are more cynical of the job is look what happened to Josh. I think it all just goes back to, we've talked about how difficult it is once you get into the NCAA tournament to kind of make that run, because anything can happen in those games. But I just think you want to kind of see that consistency now. You've made the tournament the past 2 years. Let's continue to make the tournament, maybe get a higher seed going forward.
That's it. I'm so weak. Get in a little better seed line to make that first weekend not as iffy as it's how has been. Here's what I think for ultimate career or occupation status, job status for Penny Hardaway. If he gets to a Sweet 16 before the next time, if and when he misses a tournament, then he's fine. Whenever the next time he misses a tournament before second weekend, it gets loud.
What if it's exactly the same, like over the next 5 years, let's say? Not the exact same years.
I don't think he would get 5 more. If it was NIT next year, out in the first round in year 7, out in the first year in year 8, I don't think people would remain patient, nor should.
That's fair.
I think they shouldn't. But,
yeah.
But I think you get into a tricky situation when it's someone as beloved as a former player. But he also could have a lot better 5 years. We might not even be in that scenario.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. It's going to be a big offseason. They're always big off seasons for the Tigers. But let's get to a break and wrap up this first hour. When we come back to start the 4 o'clock hour, Brent Beer from First Coast News in Jacksonville will join us. We'll talk about the NCAA tournament, a lot of SEC and ACC, what they did through the first 2 rounds. That's next on Sports Time.
Are you looking to lease a commercial space for your business? Call Stephen Hoffman. Are you a landlord looking to have your space leased? Call Stephen Hoffman. Maybe you're looking to buy or sell commercial real estate. If so, you want a professional broker looking out for your best interest, and that broker is Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Stephen is a Memphis native who knows his market well and only works the commercial side of real estate. He works for a great firm that has been locally owned and operated in Memphis for almost 40 years. Whether representing tenants, landlords, or investors alike, you are sure to get great market analysis, access to on and off-market listings, and a tough negotiator on your behalf. Call 901-761-5595 and ask for Stephen Hoffman. You can also find him on the web at MyersCRE.com. That's MYERSCRE.com. Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Representing your real estate business is his business. Call Stephen Hoffman, 901-761-5595.
This show's sponsored by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process. Therapy's all about deepening that self-awareness because sometimes you don't know what you really want until you talk things through. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. Visit BetterHelp.com/herd today and get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/herd.
Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine now because people who have joint pain are getting real lasting relief without drugs or surgery. And I know firsthand because I'm a client. Hey, it's Greg Gaston and welcome to being pain-free. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting treatment. They use highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. If you have ongoing joint pain from arthritis or injury, you need to call QC Kinetics. Don't assume that steroids and surgery are your only option. Times have changed, and regenerative medicine can get you moving again with no downtime. Discover this remarkable alternative that pro athletes have been using for years. Thanks to QC Kinetics, this amazing treatment option is now available for folks like you and me who are sick and tired of joint pain. Don't put this off any longer. Spring is coming, and you want to enjoy all life has to offer. Call QC Kinetics now at 901-445-1010. Get a free consultation with local medical professionals. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Everyone loves TV Dad.
On the next TV Dad, presented by Progressive, TV Dad explains becoming a man.
Son, it's time we had the talk.
Okay, TV Dad.
You know, drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Oh, is that why my voice is changing?
That's a question for your health teacher.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau. And thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you, and joining us now to talk about the NCAA tournament and everything that happened over the weekend. Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville is with us now. Brent, thanks for joining us. How much did you enjoy this weekend of college basketball? I mean, from start to finish, it was thrilling. I mean, the first day, the second game of the tournament, we get Furman over Virginia. Then we get a 16 over a 1. It really was fun all around.
It was, and it continues to be. Really have enjoyed what the SEC has done in the tournament so far. Mm-hmm. And Frank got 3 in there, and frankly should have had either 4 or 5. Maybe if Auburn and Kentucky had played better. But I'm. By the way, guys, if I remember this right, the Big Ten got 8 in, and I'm looking for them. Can't find them.
Well, Lewis and Clark's out there on the expedition force looking for them too, Brent, and they can't find them either. Yeah, you can't find them with GPS.
No. I mean, I know Michigan State's in there, but I'm looking around at the Sweet 16, and I just don't see any of them. And I mean, that going in the NCAA tournament, that's basically all we heard about.
Yeah. Well, and Brent, a lot of it, I won't say it's all we hear about from the start of college basketball, but I'm going to say about January 20th until Selection Sunday, we get a big old hearty dose of Big Ten.
Yeah.
And, Dateline Mackey Arena, Dateline Assembly Hall.
Yeah.
Give me a gigantic yawn to all of it.
Yes. Well, and the results speak for themselves.
Don't they?
They really do.
That's not Mino Talk Radio people making up the results, are we?
No.
And we are Mino Talk Radio people.
That's the
Don't
facts.
ever forget it.
That's the fact. 7 of 8 are gone in the tournament. But I tell you what is refreshing is what we're seeing right now out of the SEC in college basketball in general, with the resurgence of some of these teams. I think Ole Miss under Chris Beard is going to be much better. But boy, I wish he'd leave his shirt on. But I appreciate what Musselman and Arkansas were doing. Tennessee really had to play better. Fortunately for them, they did. Alabama's been consistent at this point. So, but look, it has been a incredible tournament in many ways.
Brent, I know you, and I know you said it friendly and funny about Eric Musselman. I think everybody in any walk of life, you're so much better off being yourself. And if you're not stuffed shirt, Brooks Brothers suit, corporate type, don't try to be it. Now you may have to conform a little until you make it, but then after you've made it, I think it's the easiest person to be is be yourself. Eric Musselman is very much being himself.
I think and to go further with that point, one of the more refreshing things that we're seeing now, I know we still have some like Buzz Williams, but these coaches not having to wear these suits is refreshing to be able to see. It's good to see. It's good not to have to see
I think
Bruce
be yourself.
Pearl sweat through one.
Patino likes to look like a Wall Street hedge fund banker. He does. So if that's what works for him, cool.
Well, yeah, but and Buzz knows how to dress. And
Mick Cronin.
So, but yeah, I'm. But
I think
still,
Mick Cronin's about my size. If he's got any hand-me-downs, I think I could make
Pass
him work.
along.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, look like he's about a 38 regular.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that's about right. But I'm glad. I'm glad to see the guys more relaxed on the sidelines. I think there's not a thing wrong with that.
Brent,
if that's your
I'm
thing.
going to do the very rare football-basketball crossover. I watched, and I like him. Now, it was very scandal-plagued. We know his exit from U of L. I would forewarn college basketball coaches, don't go on game day. Rick Pitino was on game day wearing a Lamar Jackson number 8, and a few weeks later was out. Last year, Chris Beard was on game day down at Austin, and then he was out. College basketball coaches, stay away from college football game day. But with the Pitino news today, he'll be 71 when the season opens next year. Coach Nick Saban will turn 72 during the season next year. We like to call it high hard ones on this show. Who goes longer, Rick Pitino or Nick Saban?
Boy, I mean, look, as far as long as Saban has got the energy and he enjoys it the way that he does, I think he might. I mean,
both bodies need to be dedicated to science to study for the next 1,000 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think. I may be wrong, but I know Nick enjoys playing basketball, so he's exercising at least a little bit. I mean, look, I'm with you, Brett. I get all the scandal of it, but boy, Pitino can coach. And you know, I mean, does he? My question would be, would someone 3 years from now, 2 years from now, I mean, would an SEC school hire him just to have him there, 2, 3, 4 years and get him winning
Kentucky
again? I just wonder.
I do too. And look, a lot of people get that great gene pool blessing. I mean, Mick Jagger's out there on that stage doing 30 dates a year around the world, and I don't know how he does it.
Well,
I know how he did it in the 70s, but he can't do that anymore. He's too old for that.
I'm sure the $1 trillion he makes every year is pretty
good motivation, isn't it?
Yeah. And the two coaches we just mentioned, it would be the same thing also. Now, this is my rant every year with this. I am glad to see Clark Kellogg on the dais with the NBA guys. I know we've got the commercials in somewhere, but I was asked today an interesting question was how much longer will the NCAA go with these NBA guys and the commercials and all that goes with it? I mean, I know some of that's fun and they're enjoying it and so forth. Now, the best thing they did is not to put the NBA guys, including Barkley, on the selection show because, let's be honest, they had not followed the sport and they didn't know what they were talking about at that point. So that's one thing to toss around here. Another thing someone brought up to me who has been a consultant for a while is, have you noticed, and look, I enjoy hoops immensely, but have you noticed the basketball games, instead of 2 hours and 3 minutes, they're now becoming 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm okay with that, but I'm wondering if people are noticing, and maybe it's just me, these basketball games are longer than they used to be.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I did notice that over the weekend, but, those commercials, you got to make that money. We talk about that with football all the time. But, Brent, I'm curious, you're talking about Arkansas earlier, and kind of through the SEC slate of the season, we saw Arkansas struggle a lot, especially when they were dealing with those injuries early in the conference play. And then Tennessee, on the other side, they ended the conference slate really struggling down the stretch. Are you surprised that both of those teams have made a run during the tournament, both ending up in the Sweet 16, or did you kind of expect once they got to the tournament that they would really kind of turn it on in front of the big lights?
Arkansas just has so much athleticism that I think you had to figure at some point that they would be, if they ever got it together, particularly if they could ever shoot the three. They've got great defense, which makes a I mean, it's great to watch them to see what they're able to do. They've got 5 players averaging double figures. Now, it may all start with UConn because UConn's on another level than a lot of these teams are. Tennessee really had to step it up, and I give them credit they have. They would play good defense. I mean, they're only allowing 57 points a game, and even without the kind of Ziegler, they have stepped up. But they had to learn how to score. They're getting better with that. Got FSU coming up, and I tell you what, it would be a feather in Rick Barnes' cap until at least get to the Elite Eight, particularly with playing Florida Atlantic this weekend.
Yeah, that's his route, and that's the route that, Memphis, we were so hoping it would be the Tigers in Tennessee at Madison Square Garden. Instead, it's Florida Atlantic. Their first 2 NCAA tournament wins ever. Their first NCAA tournament win came Friday night against the Tigers, and their first bowl win came in December of 2007 in the New Orleans Bowl, also against the Memphis Tigers. That was Howard Schnellenberger coaching the Owls that year. Brent, Saturday, April 1st, it might be the most storied, legendary April Fool's joke of all time. Bama and Tennessee on the famed first Saturday in April, cigar game at the Dome for the right to play for the national championship.
That would be amazing, would it not, frankly?
I can't believe I just said all that.
Absolutely. Or could it be some other variation of the listen, would heads just explode in the media if there were 2 SEC teams playing for the national championship?
How about this? On that other side, you could have Bama, Tennessee on left side coming out of South and the East. On the other side, you could have Arkansas and Texas playing. And that's when I say, Texas, act like you're proud to be joining SEC. Put the lapel on your uniforms.
Listen, there were a lot of people.
Because we made it fine without you. We're doing you a favor letting you in.
Now, A&M didn't live up to billing, but there were a lot of people who were hoping that we would get a Texas A&M game early on. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because A&M just didn't show up for their last game. But still, yes, to go through the brackets and find some of these very tantalizing games would be that'd be amazing to see.
Sure would.
Brent, spring football also going on, and maybe one of the best quarterback battles out there in college football, and it will really impact how Texas comes into the SEC, is the battle at UT between Ewers and Arch Manning. And with that quarterback battle, with the festivities, with everything that's going on around Arch Manning, this summer at SEC Media Days, is it time for OU and Texas media to start showing?
You would think that they would have to send somebody, don't you guys?
You think they would want to?
I would, yeah, absolutely. I would certainly think that there would be. Look, not only with the media, I mean, don't you think, too, that both schools would send some officials there, at least for a day or something of that ilk?
Because there's no legal standing against it. I think they were scared after the news dropped in 2021 of embracing it too much for fear of lawsuit for tampering or, or things along those lines. But now we know on July 1, 2024, they're officially in. So about 11 months from media days, you need to start acting like you're glad to be joining.
Yeah, you do. You do, absolutely. And that, not that.
Wish we'd rescinded.
Well, I'm not sure the arrogance is going to end by any stretch of the imagination, but yes, for events like you just talked about, there absolutely should be some representation there. And it, like I say, you don't have to be there all day long, but if your AD office, sports information, somebody from the upper echelon of the school, absolutely they should come by and
how about some of the big blue check columnists? I mean, if it doesn't take but about 5 minutes for Kirk Bowles to let you know how little he knows.
But you know, I could see him there, possibly.
I've seen him there covering A&M.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, especially from the kind of the fan point of view, I think a lot of Texas and Oklahoma fans would want to read stuff about kind of that move to the SEC.
But Bryant, great take, but I guarantee you so often, so many of those big blue check mark the fans, you think I'm going to show up and do anything for them?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, now, to Brian's point, I think on day one when Greg Sankey makes his announcements, I could see Greg Sankey saying, going through a little bit of a welcome. We will do more next year, but we are wanting to acknowledge Texas and OU coming. And by the way, so-and-so from Texas and OU are here today, and we're glad that they're here. Could he do that in 30 seconds, something like that?
Well, I think Joe Castiglione and Chris Del Conte, at minimum, could send some lieutenant, some surrogate, someone.
Sure.
Maybe not Steve Sarkisian, even if he's still the coach. That could be in some doubt, or Brent Venables, and that's in some doubt too. But the summer of 2024. Not only are they coming into the SEC, we're going to be going there. It's going to be in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. But these are things that I could see that very easily. By the way, I did want to mention before we run out of time, Missouri had their spring game. People are probably saying, "What? Are you kidding?" But yes, they did. It was so cold they actually didn't have a game, had to go inside. Hopefully they will be better at this point. And I was asked this morning on another segment about is this a crucial year for Missouri, and can Missouri challenge? Could they be possibly number two? The answer to that was no. I think Tennessee will be at this point. But I do think
Missouri won't be three.
Could be, but they're not going to be better until that defense is better. That's crucial for them this year.
Yeah. You mentioned that last week that Missouri was having their spring game. I'll be honest, I completely forgot about it. I
kind of missed it
so early.
People did. and look, when you have a spring game during the NCAA tournament, you run the risk of no one at all paying attention, and that's a good object lesson right there.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. We're talking to Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. Brent, I am curious with the NCAA tournament. Alabama looked really good in their first two games. The first one being against the 16 seed, but even against Maryland, who I thought would give them a good test, they still dominated. But one of the kind of storylines surrounding that team is Brandon Miller and his groin injury that he's been playing through. It seems like maybe minutes restriction he's been going through hasn't been very effective for Alabama, but I think they've shown how deep they are. Do you have any worries about Brandon Miller and this injury as we kind of get deeper into the tournament and Alabama sees tougher competition?
Well, it certainly helps them that they've had a little rest. I think it helped them that they're not playing Thursday and then they're playing Friday. Just to have another day. Your point's a good one in that their depth, it is quality depth, has really helped them. That some of these guys, Mark Sears, Noah Clowney, Javon Quinterly, those guys have stepped up. Now, look, at this point of the game, it gets tougher, and this San Diego State team is very good. I was told by a friend of the national media who covers the sport closely that San Diego State plays defense similar to Houston and Tennessee. So that's going to be, and if they win, they'll play the winner of Creighton and Princeton. Boy, Princeton is a story within themselves, and frankly, so is Creighton. That's a really nice team. with what they've done. And again,
and a basketball school, a place that really loves the sport.
And I tell you this, right now, I would tell you, coming from this state, Florida, Miami is much more of a listen. Right now, Miami is more of a basketball school than they're a football school.
Wait, you're breaking news. Miami's really in the state of Florida? It seems like this is its own state, doesn't it?
Sure does.
We still claim them here. I know it's I know it's iffy there at that point, but boy, I tell you one thing, they have done well, and I don't think they'll beat Houston. But I do give them a lot of credit.
Be a good game.
In the ACC, it needed Miami to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a really good game, though, like you said, Brett. But, Brent, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the week and the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Great. Listen, it's a great time of year. And I'll leave you with this as I'm going here. Believe it or not, in about 2 months, we're going to have preseason magazines in our hand.
I'm ready in 2 minutes.
Don't tempt me. It's going to be fun.
We're ready.
It's going to get here just like that. I mean, it's going to be here before we know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, this as we scoot out here, this destined meeting that's normally just collecting. What, Brett? Would you say? Working on your tan and collecting checks.
Golf, tan, handshakes, and checks.
Yeah. This Destin meeting may actually have a lot of meaning this year.
Meat and potatoes, real stuff. Yeah, real decisions to make.
Yes. Guys, always enjoy it. Appreciate you greatly.
Thanks,
Thank
Brent.
you, Brent. Brent Beard, our friend down in Jacksonville at First Coast News on all things college sports, particularly college football. But he does love it all, and he's been an avid Alabama fan all his life. And Alabama right here, I think, with maybe not the scenario in Columbus, but you got to get through San Diego State or the winner of Creighton and Princeton to go to your first Final Four. That's pretty room service right there. Yeah. Down at Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet, it's truck season, and you can walk through all the pre-owned Silverados and Tahoes, High Country, Trail Boss, even some F-150s. And if you want to order a brand-new Chevy truck or find one at All-Star, they got them. Ask for Kevin or Jeff about this week's deals on new Silverados, financing as low as 0% and no payment for 90 days, 0 in 90 days first payment. Again, Jeff and Kevin want to thank all of you who have brought your cars or trucks or SUVs to All-Star to sell. They always pay great cash, even if you don't buy from them, even if you owe money against it. They'll write you a check. Bring any car or truck to All-Star, first exit into Mississippi on Highway 78. Kraft Goodman Road, and they'll get you a check ready today. Sweet spring deals on combo tire rotation and oil changes. Always great deals on tires or brake service. Call Sean or Jeff in the All-Star Chevy department. So very efficient, so very fast. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, Mount Moriah, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet on Highway 78. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
I'm really excited about what we're going to do on the other side of this break. We're going to rank our Sweet 16 teams 1 through 16. I talked about it earlier. A lot of different ways you can go about ranking these teams, so it'll be interesting to see what all three of us, how we rank them and how we differ. But let's get to a break. That's on the other side on Sportstime.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hey Sports 56 fans, it's me, Johnny Radio. Come join me for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Park, corner of Park and Cherry, this Friday from 11 to 1. Come hungry, enjoy complimentary barbecue and all the fixins, and 2 chances to win 2 rounds of golf and a cart at Wedgwood Golf Course. We have 2 $25 gift cards to Neil's Bar and Grill, where the fat man rocks. We also have plenty of Malco tickets to win, gift cards to the new Sunrise Cafe East Memphis. So this Friday, 11 to 1, come join me for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Park.
Everyone loves TV Dad.
On the next TV Dad, presented by Progressive, TV Dad explains becoming a man.
Son, it's time we had the talk.
Okay, TV Dad.
You know, drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Oh, is that why my voice is changing?
That's a question for your health teacher.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds not only taste bolder than your traditional snack, they're also low-carb, high-protein packed and have 7 grams of collagen per serving. Southern Recipe pork rinds are as tasty out of the bag as they are in your favorite keto-friendly recipe. Find your rind in the snack aisle or at southernrecipe.com. That's southernrecipe.com.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
Available in the snack aisle at your local Kroger today.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event is on at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Come test drive the all-new 2023 Outlander plug-in hybrid electric with 420 total range, 64 combined MPG, and 38 minutes best charging time. And you may be eligible for up to $7,500 federal EV incentive and $1,500 lease cash. Come check it out at Gossett Mitsubishi. Plus 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander with 3 rows of seating for up to 7 people. We Gossett at $499 a month or buy for $34,055. Looking for some peace of mind in your new ride? How about Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty? 2023 Outlander, $499 a month, or get 1.9 for 36 months, and test drive the all-new 2023 Outlander plug-in hybrid electric. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
Outlander PZO 12158 MSRP 34555 includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you. And we only got 16 teams left in college basketball still playing, unless you want to count the NIT and the CBI.
And only counting Division I.
And only counting Division I.
Did you know that the Division II tournament actually groups the games in threes? So they played 3 consecutive rounds, went home, waited a week, and then they
really?
And they start, I think tomorrow, they start playing the Elite Eight, Final Four, and championship.
I thought they were already. It must have been D3 that had their
D3's
championship
done.
game
That's
on.
Right.
It was on like CBS Sports Network or something like that.
They did?
I think
That's
so.
great.
Yeah, I saw an ad for it.
I should know this. Does NAIA still go to Kansas City?
It's a good question.
I don't know if they still go to
clue.
Kansas City. I'll look it up.
No clue at all. But
and out of the CBI is very American Athletic Conference laden.
Charlotte's still left.
Rice?
Rice
lose?
Rice might have lost. I don't know. I have all the names of the teams.
They do,
somewhere.
Brett. Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City.
Classic.
Well, we've got include the NIT too, Brett. Rice was in the CBI, but they've been knocked out. Charlotte's still playing in the CBI. North Texas still playing in the NIT. UAB still playing in the NIT.
They play Vanderbilt.
Play Vanderbilt tomorrow night. Should be a good game. AAC showing their chops. Postseason play.
For 69th, 70th, 71st, and 72nd.
Important rankings.
When you put it like that, it sounds much worse than they're playing postseason basketball.
For pride.
They're still standing.
That's right.
But we got
banners.
For banners. That's exactly right.
I guarantee you Rice needs them. Man, that place they play in. Wow.
They already got knocked out, so they won't. They're not playing for any banners.
I'm sorry,
anymore.
I wasn't listening well.
It's okay. It's all right. But we have 16 teams left in the NCAA tournament, and we're going to go through and rank 1 through 16. So who wants to start? Am I going to start?
Go ahead and go in any order you like.
Okay. I'm going to start at the top. I'll go
I don't like that.
I'll start at 16,
Yeah,
and
I
I'll
like
go
that.
up
I
to
like
number
that.
1. At 16, I have Princeton. I've loved the run they've gone on, but let's be honest, it's Princeton. 15, I've got Florida Atlantic. 14, I have San Diego State. 13, I have Arkansas. 12, I have Miami. 11, I have Michigan State. 10, I have Tennessee. I lied to you earlier, Jay. I told you I had Tennessee a little bit higher than I actually do. 9, I have UConn. 8, Xavier. 7, Kansas State. 6, Creighton. 5, UCLA. 4, Texas. 3, Gonzaga. 2, Houston. And number 1, Alabama.
Very interesting. Very interesting. This was hard to do.
It was very hard. A lot of good
Morgan?
teams.
I also have Princeton last, but now I want to make them higher because I object to Brian's description. Let's face it, they're Princeton.
They're Princeton.
They're playing great basketball.
They're playing great basketball.
I don't like that.
But when you talk about the talent on the team,
that's more fair. That's more fair, but they're Princeton. Come on.
They're Princeton.
But I also have them last, so there you go.
They'll all be on Wall Street someday.
That's
that
right.
Talent on the team.
They'll be paying my paycheck.
They
one
will.
day.
They'll be making way more money than I will.
My 15th ranked team, this is tough. I had to do Arkansas. I just didn't enjoy their game. They have great players. They're playing good basketball. Musselman is an excellent coach. 2 straight Elite Eights. Could get to another one. But I have them 15th. 14th, I have FAU. 13th, Michigan State. 12th, I have Kansas State. 11th, I have Miami. 10th, I have Xavier. 9th, I have San Diego State. 8th, I have Creighton. UCLA, I have at 7th. Texas in 6th. This was tough. I have Houston at 5th.
Wow.
I have Alabama 3rd. 4th, I have UConn 3rd.
Wow.
I moved Tennessee up to 2nd, and I have Gonzaga in 1st. That being said, I think Tennessee actually is going to lose to FAU. But I've really enjoyed watching them
Vol
play.
Navy.
As long as Vescovi gets going a little bit, I'm going to keep Tennessee
Vol
second.
Coast Guard.
That's right.
So you have Gonzaga 1, Jay Morgan, and Bryant, you have Gonzaga 3. I have Gonzaga 4. I'm not trying to be Mr. Literalist here. I'm not. But almost the Tiger expectations for the next few years. If not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Few, when do you cash this in?
It's a good question. I mean, with Drew Timme, who I said earlier is probably going to be my greatest player of Gonzaga of all time. I mean, what he's done in the past couple of years, being able to have that anchor, it does seem like this is as good a time as any.
And Gonzaga that most of the world didn't know about before. Even when John Stockton was there, most of us didn't know of Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Kind of they burst to fame in that season when they beat the Tigers very early in the year in maybe a preseason NIT, some game when they had Richie Fromm, Matt Santangelo, and that grouping, and it was off. That was Don Monson. Few didn't really start it. He was the number 1 assistant. But they have been a relevant, great team of the 21st century and of the last few years. They've really been there. And I think if you're an actor in Hollywood, if you went to the Academy Awards 6th straight year and you got Best Supporting Actor, you'd be very pleased with that. How pleased would Gonzaga be? But to always be the bridesmaid. When are they going to crack through and win? So I said I had Gonzaga at 4. My 1 is Houston. My 2 is UCLA, and I've been stuck in that for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real right or real wrong. 3 Alabama, 4 Gonzaga, 5 UConn, 6 Kansas State, 7 Tennessee, 8 Miami, 9 Texas, 10 Xavier, 11 Arkansas, 12 Michigan State, 13 San Diego State, 14 Creighton, 15 FAU, and 16 Princeton. Only Michigan State and UConn can be repeat 21st century national championship winners. All the rest of the team that have won in the 21st century either didn't make the tournament or have already been eliminated.
That is incredible that only 2 teams still standing in that.
And that's out of 13 different teams that have won it. It has won it in college basketball in the 21st century. It feels like we're going to have a 14th winner, and that would move basketball to second with the most different winners from their sport. Now, they have 363 teams, but we know all of them really don't have a chance to win. It's really down to about 30 to 40 that can really win it every year. It would take basketball to 14 different champions. Major League Baseball is at 15, the NFL is at 13, college football at 12, and the secret society, the NBA, with 10.
Only 10 for the NBA.
Only 10.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that low. That's incredible, actually. But
once you start winning in the NBA, you really start racking them up.
True.
San Antonio did. Golden State. They have even the Miami Heat. They didn't get to not 5, not 6, but they got to 3.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But that's interesting. So where did you have Creighton in your list, Brett?
I had Creighton 14th.
And where'd you have them, Jay?
8th. Creighton.
Okay. Creighton, that's right.
Had Creighton, those Creightons from Creighton.
That's right. I had him 8th.
I like Creighton a lot.
Poppy Harlow.
Poppy Harlow.
No need to watch her again if she doesn't know it's Creighton.
Yeah, but
no relation to Jack Harlow.
Wasn't really any need to watch her to begin with.
But Brett loves Jack Harlow.
Really?
Yeah.
Brett, you know about Jack Harlow?
Well, I didn't until Jack Harlow was on my TV on game day last year.
Oh, that's right. He was a game day picker.
And we had to explain to Brett who Jack Harlow was.
Oh, he's a fine Kentucky rapper. I really one
I
of the
still
best.
don't know that if I ran into Jack at the airport, I would know who he was. But
I would probably lean to know you would not.
It makes us even because he doesn't have a clue who I am.
That's true.
Touche then, I guess.
I agree.
But I really like this Creighton team. I think if they beat Princeton, which we've seen Princeton's played 2 really good games, I think they will be a tough test for Alabama. I mean, this is a team that was a preseason top 10 team, brought in a lot of talent, returned a lot of talent, and I think they're really, kind of hitting their stride at the right time. I wouldn't be surprised if after they beat Princeton, if we're kind of looking at our TVs in that Elite 8 game and kind of wondering what's going to happen against Alabama.
Well, that Gonzaga question, if not now, then when, that really suffices for Houston, doesn't it?
Sure does. It does. It seems like they've got that kind of team built right now to go out and win it, and I think a lot of those pieces are going to be gone after this year. And so,
and when we talk the pressure ratings, where there's always that inherent pressure of just looking up in those rafters and walking into Pauley Pavilion, that Mick Cronin or any UCLA men's basketball coach, that's the cloud, the shadow that's inescapable. But Houston, Bama, Gonzaga, I think for all of them, if you're not cutting the nets down this year, win.
That's true. And, I mean, for Houston, at least, it almost becomes the same kind of conversation you have about Gonzaga, where you're kind of going through this conference slate and you're playing a lot of teams that are not on your level. When you go to the Big 12 next year, I mean, we saw what the Big 12 was this year in terms of everybody was beating everybody on any given night. You never knew who was going to win in those conference games. And so it's going to be a little bit like that for Houston.
So neither one of y'all are more confident in Gonzaga's sustainability versus Alabama and Houston?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay. Oh,
no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just dubious. 2 years ago at the bubble finals, bubble tournament in Indianapolis, I thought that was Gonzaga's shot. And especially after how they won the national semifinal game against UCLA on that thrilling shot. Most of us thought just named the score against Baylor and it ended up being really a rout for Baylor the other way. But I don't think there are any other teams playing with that pressure. Now Rick Barnes has pressure, but it's not to win at all. Even getting to the 8 and for sure finally landing Tennessee's first men's basketball Final Four, that would be quite an accomplishment for him, and that's as far as he's ever gotten as a head coach, having never won it. I don't – Larinaga, just his age, when's he going to do it again? And Izzo, how many more for him? This might be the last great chance for him.
Yeah.
But Michigan State, they have won it under two different coaches, Judd Heathcote with a guy named Magic and Tom Izzo in 2000.
Mm-hmm. Jay, who did you said you had Tennessee at 2, but you said you have them losing.
I just don't think the matchup's very good. I think
against Florida Atlantic?
Uh-huh. I think they matched up well with Duke because they had so much of their scoring power coming from Filipowski, who's a big. Mm-hmm. I think Tennessee runs into trouble when the guards are really good, they're quick, they're fast.
What you're going to see against Florida Atlantic.
And it's exactly what you're going to see against Florida Atlantic. So I feel like they almost match up better against Duke, who's probably, I think we would all agree, a better team than Florida Atlantic.
Yeah.
They match up much better in that game, in my mind, than they do against Florida Atlantic.
And we will be. We probably will be, even in defeat, as insufferable as us SEC fans can be. Just imagine if it's truly Bama, Tennessee on one side and Arkansas on the other. If it's 3,
might puke.
I think I'm gonna get. I think I'll have the bumper stickers made. Not bad for a football and baseball league.
Not bad at all. 3 out of 4. Not too shabby.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I think only Alabama's got a real chance to go to the Final Four. Tennessee probably second, and in Arkansas, that's going to be a brawl against UConn, and how it will be coached by those two coaches. I mean, Musselman and Hurley. They won't have anything.
Fiery guys.
They'll have to go to bed with an IV drip that night, just from all that they will expend in that game. And then you look up and they've got to hope that Gonzaga and UCLA has a commensurate game, and both of those teams are kind of left with an empty take. That happened to the Tigers and UCLA in 2006 out in Oakland. Both of those teams got to that regional final, and neither one of them had much left. If the Tigers had generated any offense at all that day against UCLA, that would have been Cal's first trip to the Final Four.
Really?
Was that 06 or 07?
That would have been
1 of the years.
That had to be 06, right? Well, I'm not sure because based on what you're saying,
I think it was in 06.
I think you're right. UCLA played the national championship that year too. If it is 06,
they did, and in 07, Ohio State, Mike Conley eliminated the Tigers. Yeah, it was 06. Because I was in Washington I thought I was going to be there covering Tennessee, but still was credentialed and still was stringing, and it was George Mason beating UConn.
Luke Richard and Bob Mute on that basketball team, by the way.
Oh, one of my favorites.
I know. Any opportunity to say the name, Brad, I got you.
I'll tell you, how fiery Dan Hurley is. One of my best memories of Dan Hurley just this season. They were playing either Xavier or Providence in a conference game, and they were down by 3 points with 40 seconds left. And UConn fouls the opposing team, and it'd be fine. They go to the line. You still have time, plenty of time, only probably a 5-point game if they make both free throws. Dan Hurley loses his mind and gets a double tech. And so now, instead of just shooting 2 free throws, they're shooting a bunch of free throws, and it was at that moment. It was out of hand. And so I wouldn't be surprised if
So he lost him the game.
He lost him the game. Just how fiery he is.
Technically.
He's so fiery, he'll lose them the
fiery.
game.
And Bobby's the same way at Duke. I just wonder if their legendary dad in high school coaching, he had to be the same way.
Had to be.
It runs in the family.
He runs in it. I want to get the double coach ejection this weekend. And while Muss is walking off the court, he whips his shirt off and starts whipping it around.
UConn doesn't want to.
You could get the double ejection with Musselman and Hurley. You really could.
I would love it.
One of them lose it early, and the other one match him late. I said earlier I was going to talk about it. Yesterday I had just a great lunch with a great friend at Jason's Deli. We were over at Park Place. So many great locations to go to. One not very far away always in this area on Ridgeway Road at Park Place, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch and Cordova. And the chicken pot pie. That I forget to talk about it. They are so good. You get that, and you get the soup to go with it. I had the taco salad. Love all their salads there. Taco salad, my favorite, the chicken Caesar salad, the Big Chef salad, the chicken club salad, the Mesa chicken salad, then the salad bar in all the locations. You go to it, over 30 items to choose from. You can prepare it however you would like. As much as you want in it, you can do it at Jason's Deli. They like to say, wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and it is. Whether it's to dine in, to go, or delivery, healthy first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. It's all about choice at Jason's Deli. It's other things there too. How accommodating they are, and just so very friendly. And I always talk about, I just love you. I think you can judge a place on how good it is by the cleanliness, and it is sparkling in all those locations. If you seek a gluten-free menu, you're covered. Vegetarian sandwiches, they have it. Healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you can. You'll be delighted at Jason's Deli, and catering anytime, anywhere, 5 to 5,000, no order too large, for the great team at Jason's Deli. Over 200 Memphis area associates to make everything just the way you want it. And I forget about dinner time. Bryant and his family, they were in there recently at dinner time. That's coming up. Well, early one, you go right now to Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. And in all those locations, the complimentary free ice cream. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Let's grab a break. When we come back, it will be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes. Metro Builders. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. Metro Builders, your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with Metro Builders. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Got chronic joint pain but want to avoid steroids and surgery? Take some advice from pro football legend Emmitt Smith. Call QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life with biologic therapies that get your body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
These exciting new regenerative treatments from local medical professionals can help your body heal itself with lasting pain relief.
Trust me, you want to avoid surgery if you can. Check out these biologic treatments to see what your options are.
QC Kinetics, restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime, no surgery, no drugs.
I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again.
Get relief now.
What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmett Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you. And it's about 4:50, so you know what that means. It's time for Big Number of the Day.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
So my big number of the day is 26. Last night we had the World Baseball Classic semifinal game between Japan and Mexico. And the big story going into the game was 21-year-old pitcher Roki Sasaki from Japan, who everyone is toting to be the next best Japanese player that could play in the MLB. He's not eligible yet to sign.
Next Daisuke?
The next greatest.
What a name.
Yeah, that's a great name.
I went to I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
I went to a Red Sox game, and they were giving out Daisuke Matsuzaka headbands to put
Really?
on. I still have it.
Well, I don't know much about this guy. I'll be honest. The first time I'd even heard about this guy was yesterday when I saw Jeff Passan.
This is the first time I've ever heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about him, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know much about him. But what I do know is last night, everyone was touting him to be better than Shohei as a pitcher and that he throws extremely hard. Well, last night, he threw 26 pitches at or better than 100 miles per hour. Of those 26 pitches that landed there, his highest pitch clocked at 101.9, and that came in the fourth inning, which was his last inning of pitching. He averaged 100.5 last night, and he topped out at about 102. So he showed that he's got the stuff last night in that game. He did give up a 3-run shot, but like I said earlier, Japan was able to come back and walk it off in the ninth inning to set up tonight's game against the United States in the championship.
You know it was predetermined to have the USA versus Japan.
Oh, of course. That's what everyone was talking about before it started.
Yeah, I agree. My big number is a simple one today. It's 57, and it stands for the 57 points that Julius Randle scored last night against the Timberwolves. 19 of 29 from the field, 8 of 14 from 3. Unbelievable game. It's the third highest point total in Knick history in a single game, behind Carmelo Anthony, who had 62, and Bernard King, who had 60.
Wow. Oh, he sure did. Bernard King had 60 points on Christmas night, 1984, against the Chicago Bulls. And how do I remember that? Because me and my crew won a 5-team parlay because of it, and that was the last leg of it.
Sounds like I need to make one with Julius Randle to honor the tradition, but not on Christmas Day.
And a great party was on Christmas night, 1984, at about 10 o'clock because of it. My big number is 25. Yours was 26. Mine's 25, Bryant.
Wow.
Bama with 25 NCAA tournament wins. They're 25 and 23 all time. Tennessee with 25 NCAA tournament wins all time. They are 25 and 25. I think they both get number 26. Which one gets 27? Does somebody get 28? Does somebody get to 29? Arkansas, they're sitting there after their wins in Des Moines. That was win number 49 and 50 for the Razorbacks. They're dreaming of at least one more to maybe face UCLA, and that's where all the Arkansas NCAA tournament, really the modern run, started in 1978 in the round of the Sweet 16. They defeated UCLA, and that was still beating UCLA when you beat them back then. And they beat them on a Thursday night in Albuquerque to get to the regional finals against Cal State Fullerton and beat them and got to St. Louis to the Final Four.
It's going to be a fun weekend. I'm always excited about the first weekend of games, but there's some really good games this weekend in the Sweet 16.
This is defining times now, though.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we need to get to a break. But before we do that, I got to tell you about Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. Stop in for lunch or dinner like I did the other night at one of their 5 great locations in Midtown on Central Avenue, Poplar, Summer, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, or the one in Mississippi on Getwell Road in South Haven for slow-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. Central Barbecue has some of the best ribs in town, and don't forget about the pulled pork sandwich. But they have more than just pork. Try their beef brisket, smoked turkey, barbecue bologna, or their wings, and pair any of that with one of their great sides like greens, slaw, or my favorite, the mac and cheese, for a meal you'll remember. If you want catering for 15 or more people, Central Barbecue can do that. Just call 901-527-9990. That's 901-527-9990 and ship it to family or friends that aren't lucky enough to visit Central Barbecue. Head over to eatcbq.com and click the shipping tab to send your loved ones the best barbecue in town. Again, give them a call at 901-527-9990 or visit one of their 5 great locations for Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. But we need to get to a break. When we come back to start our third and final hour, Bo Marchant will join us to talk about all the moves to start the NFL offseason. That's next on Sports Time.
Are you looking to lease a commercial space for your business? Call Stephen Hoffman. Are you a landlord looking to have your space leased? Call Stephen Hoffman. Maybe you're looking to buy or sell commercial real estate. If so, you want a professional broker looking out for your best interest, and that broker is Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Stephen is a Memphis native who knows his market well and only works the commercial side of real estate. He works for a great firm that has been locally owned and operated in Memphis for almost 40 years. Whether representing tenants, landlords, or investors alike, you are sure to get great market analysis, access to on and off-market listings, and a tough negotiator on your behalf. Call 901-761-5595 and ask for Stephen Hoffman. You can also find him on the web at myerscre.com. That's MYERSCRE.com. Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Representing your real estate business is his business. Call Stephen Hoffman, 901-761-5595.
I know you're thinking about pools and patios right now. Don't deny it. They're on your mind. So it's a good thing that Family Leisure is having their preseason patio and pool sale. It's like they're mind readers. You can buy now and save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture. You want free layaway? Done. You want special financing? Done. You want to be ready to enjoy your backyard just as soon as spring hits? Family Leisure has you covered. Patio and pool season's not that far away. So now's the time to take advantage of this fantastic early bird pricing special. Now here comes the really special part. If you mention this commercial, you get half off delivery and installation. I'll let that sink in for a second. You heard me right, my friends. You mentioned this very commercial, and Family Leisure will give you half off delivery and installation. The preseason patio and pool sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
The Showboats are back in Memphis. We can't wait to have you for the USFL. Let's go.
Ticket prices start at just $10 for their long-awaited homecoming season. April 15th starts a new era of pro football at the Liberty Bowl when the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Bring the whole family and don't miss the Showboats' historic return.
It's a touchdown!
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Do you know where the best place in Memphis is to watch all your favorite sports? That place is Sidecar Cafe. Catch all the sports action indoors on one of their 12 HD TVs and all of the college basketball tournament games on the largest TV wall on the largest patio in Memphis. Sidecar Cafe has an awesome menu with in-house smoked meats plus plate lunches daily till 3 p.m. If it's sports, it's gotta be Sidecar Cafe. Sidecar Cafe, game on! Conveniently located just off I-40 at 2194 Whitten Road next to Bumpus Harley-Davidson.
Come celebrate the savings with Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. It's Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event, so we're ready to rock. 2022 Jeep Renegade $5,000 off. 2022 Dodge Charger $6,000 off. And 2023 Grand Cherokee El Laredo with third row seating $7,000 off. Plus 2022 Fiat 500X $4,000 off. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike says you won't find a better deal anywhere else. And if we don't have it, Gossett will order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Fiat 500X NP 98268 MSRP 30,950 Renegade NPN 95921 MSRP 32130 Charger number NH261941 MSRP 35630 Cherokee PH794494 MSRP 46765 includes all rebates and incentives, excludes tax line and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/23. Dealer stock only.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you. We've talked a lot of basketball today, but we got to jump into the NFL with our guy, Bo Marchant from collegepro.com and Sports Illustrated. Bo, thanks for joining us. It's been an eventful start to the offseason in the NFL, and I really thought that we would kind of get some Aaron Rodgers news by now, but really still nothing. Do you expect we're going to hear something in the next couple of days or maybe in the next week or so on a destination, on a Jets trade for Aaron Rodgers?
You know, I wish I had a deadline for you or even even if I could lie to you. I don't even know if I could lie to you well enough to kind of give you a prediction on when this will end. I think both sides would prefer to get it done. I think especially if you're the Green Bay Packers that you would like to get this done before the draft. I think you really lose a little bit. At least, the picks that they're chasing right now, they know what they're getting. They might not know that come 2024 when the draft would resume. So I think this is something I think we all know it'll get done. It's just a matter of each team kind of, digging themselves in, trying to get the best value. And it's kind of a bizarre situation in terms of, they don't really want to pay him the money that he's owed. So they're kind of stuck there. The Jets know that, and vice versa. The Packers know the Jets do not want to go into the season with Zach Wilson. The veteran market has dried up, so their options are very limited. So it's going to be a matter of somebody kind of coming and holding their pride down a little bit and saying, okay, we're willing to pay a little bit more or take a little less. Who that'll be, I wish I could tell you, but I do think, and I think we all feel that, the deal will get done. Time frame, though, no clue.
Bo, it's easy to throw around collusion, the C word, collusion. That's the C word, collusion. It's easy to throw that word around when they're probably all looking after their self-interest, but there's usually one breakaway owner. In baseball, a long time ago, it was Tom Hicks owning the Texas Rangers that said, I'm not going to play ball like this. I'm going to blow the market up, and he did with A-Rod. We had it with Jimmy Haslam with Deshaun Watson. It feels like everybody's hunkered in playing the wink and nod collusion game on Lamar Jackson, and in this case, the Jets not wanting to pay that whole check that's owed by the Packers to Aaron Rodgers. If he wanted that whole check, he had to stay in Green Bay and get it. Why are these teams kind of all of a sudden counting pennies?
Well, I think it stems from, at least in terms of, I think, Lamar Jackson and the money that Deshaun Watson got from Cleveland Browns in terms of the guaranteed money. Some numbers came out that I think Lamar Jackson contradicted it, or people close to him. Again, I don't know that for sure, but I think something came out where it was 3 years, 130. And then he's like, well, why not? Maybe it could have went to 150. I do not know. Hey, listen, it's the guaranteed money. It's kind of a bizarre thing when you think about guaranteed money, because if you know the person's going to be there, you're basically guaranteeing them the money anyway. So if you sign Lamar Jackson, absent him being hurt, he's going to be there for the 3 years of the contract. So I don't know why you wouldn't just guarantee it, because one way or another, he's going to be your premier quarterback. He's going to be the guy under center. That's why you're even going to pay him that much for one season. It just goes back to the guaranteed money. We all know Lamar Jackson isn't represented by an agency. And, listen, Lamar Jackson's not going to listen to me, but I think in his own best interest, if somebody came up there, it's kind of like a Le'Veon Bell type of deal. I know, his people, I think I shouldn't speak for them, but, they felt, hey, this is a good deal. But he elected not to sign with the Steelers. He sat out a year, and his career got kind of derailed. We're not that far with Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson doesn't have representation. I just think if somebody could talk to him and maybe help him through this. I mean, his job is playing quarterback at an extremely high level in the National Football League, and there's other people who make a living at an extremely high level representing players. And when you're talking that type of money, he's not going to go broke paying a slight percentage to an agent, and I think he would be well served if he went down that road. And I do believe we'd be a little bit farther in this Lamar Jackson scenario, if you will, if he was represented by an agency.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think you're right. I think it would definitely help him. But it kind of, while we're talking about quarterbacks, the news that I saw today that really kind of surprised me was that Cam Newton threw today at Auburn's Pro Day, trying to get back into the league after not being with a team last year. Do you think there's a team out there with kind of all the movements that would take a shot at Cam Newton to be in that quarterback room as a backup, as somebody that, if something happens, they could kind of throw him in there?
Well, I hate being sarcastic, but I think he would have been better off doing running back drills than the passing drills. Because when he plays quarterback in the NFL, that's basically what he's doing, is running the football. So, his last stint, that's what he was doing. He was basically a running back, and yes, he has the ability to throw it, but I'm not going to lie. Since I'm such a when I saw that he was throwing at a pro day, knowing that there might be a small school prospect or somebody that's really, really dying to throw in front of NFL scouts, maybe possibly allowing somebody to have that opportunity. I felt like he, took that away from a young arm, a possible prospect that could have had an opportunity to maybe get in the camp and showcase what they have. So, again, all these guys believe in themselves. We hear from Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton. I'm sure Todd Marinovich might think he could throw today. I mean, these guys they're competitors. They're athletes.
Go ahead, say it, Tebow.
Tebow, and Brett Favre.
He could throw when he needed to throw. He sure can't today.
They're competitors. So there'll be a point.
Let's get it going. Favre's coming back, Bo.
Love it.
Yeah, we'll start it here. Memphis Sports 56. You've heard it here first. Brett Favre will return in 2023 to where? The Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. We like that. That'd be a good April Fool's gag for us to do over there. Boy, you get in a lot of trouble doing that. Bo, I'm alone in SEC country, other than Auburn fans. There are a lot of Auburn fans that revere with that 1 year at Auburn for Cam Newton and what he did and led them to a national championship. The rest of the fan bases in the SEC, they're not that endeared to Cam Newton. I'm alone in being not in the Auburn family, but liking Cam Newton and recognizing what he did in that 1 year and in his career in the NFL. It won't be first ballot. It won't be soon. But I think someday, and it could be a long time, I think Cam Newton deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's a big I don't know if I'm there yet. I might have to maybe look into it. I know they went 15-1, MVP. They lost in the Super Bowl. I don't know.
If for no other reason, the hits that he took now would get players kicked out of a game.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did bring that up. I mean, if Cam Newton has kind of come and gone before you were watching him, I mean, he was a running back playing the quarterback position. And I don't want to take away from his quarterbacking ability. I mean, he was phenomenal. I mean, he could do it all. But there was a separate set of rules for him in terms of how defenses were allowed to treat him. Any other quarterback in the National Football League, even at that time, he was held to a different standard because of his physicality and his babe. And it wasn't right. But nonetheless, it really was the case. I don't know about Hall of Famer. That one's a tricky one. It's hard to say. I'm going to really have to look at that one. I'm very picky about the Hall of Fame. I will say this in his defense.
I know, and you know that I'm not. I about would let anybody in.
Yeah, but I do think if there's a part of your career where you're considered the best in the league, and he was, I think that is a very prominent point to direct you towards your view, Brett, that, he should be a Hall of Famer. So he has that going for him. I think some of the guys where you look at their careers, and it might be a long-lasting career and they've had success, I do think when I look at a guy, there had to be at least one point in their career, and I could say that about Cam Newton, where I thought, hey, he's the best player in the league. He's the best player on the field. And even if it's for a sustained period of time, we've seen Terrell Davis and Gale Sears, two short, limited sample sizes of perfection on the football field that they both got inducted. So, just because, I guess I'm now in the defending Cam Newton, but so now do we disregard his career because he played too long? But if he would have played 3 magical seasons at an MVP level and not had any more of them, would he have been the greatest? And we just live off the lineage of, kind of like a James Dean or a Marilyn Monroe. They don't grow old. We just remember the young, beautiful faces. So maybe that could help. But I don't know.
I mean, it always stayed young and good looking through that tragedy. You're right. Jay Morgan, do this and just break in when you have it. Hit the Google machine real quickly for fewest number of games played to get to Canton. I think it's Sayers. It might be Terrell Davis, but I think it's Gale Sayers. It's just a phenomenally low number that he put on his greatness to get to Canton. I'm always advocating for Doug Flutie and Herschel Walker to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that would encompass for Doug Flutie his USFL and CFL career, and for Herschel his USFL career.
I believe it was Ernie Nevers. He only played in 54 games to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's it's amazing because it's amazing that Davis got. I mean, you think of 54 games. And when was he? I mean, how long were those seasons? I mean, those were what, 11, 12?
10 gamers.
He played in the 20s and early 30s.
Oh,
wow. He played back in the day. One of my favorite NFL names, Bulldog Turner.
Oh God, great. All Ace, Flybird. I mean, all the numbers are just great. I don't want to go off subject, but I know I told you guys I found an old baseball card. I know I told you about it, Brett, but it was a card from 1933. It was an old baseball card, and I loved it because the back of the baseball card and whatever the player was, it said just hypothetically, Joe Smith is an old school player. He plays the game the way it's supposed to be, not like these young guys. This is in 1933. They were already calling out the young guys. being weak and not,
We've been doing it since the beginning of time.
Great.
Yeah, so it's every generation's going to get that. But I thought coming from that late in time to hear that was kind of ironic.
And it's why, Bo, I try so hard not to, because every old 60-year-old wants to say, oh, kids these days, and not any different than they've ever been. It's just different folks doing it.
Yeah, I think the speed and the size of these guys now, I think that's what leads to so many injuries and the impact. The game was more violent then, but it's just a faster, I guess it's just they're faster, they're bigger, they're moving at speeds we haven't seen, and and the pads are smaller. They're not protected like they used to be. It's where we're going, and I'm probably guilty of it too. Hey, these guys are soft, but I guarantee I would not ever take part in an NFL game and want to be on the side of getting hit or trying to block somebody, because I'm going to suffer a lot of injuries.
And both, it's the great kind of intellectual discourse you can have, or exercise you can have about, I don't know that I want to see these guys dropped on their head like Terry Bradshaw was. I don't know. And I loved how Dick Butkus played, but and Ray Nitsky, but and Willie Lanier, but I don't know if you really need to just try to knock somebody's teeth out on every play.
Yeah. I think, when I watch the games now, I think it's the ticky-tack calls where, it can't be reviewed. It's a play where the lineman fell. He maybe barely, touched the quarterback, and it's a flag's thrown. It's on a critical down, and those are the things that aggravate you. And there's several throughout the season that really attract a lot of attention. But the powers that be, you just kind of go through the motions. Nothing's going to change. I just think more consistency or more ability, maybe for coaches to kind of, or even the referees themselves, to say, hey, let's take a look at this. They look at enough stuff, and we don't want the game stopped anymore. But I'd rather have the game stopped and have it be called correctly than have it move forward on a critical play that may result in a team not, finding victory because of that. So we've seen it many, many times where these guys are, hit in a weird way, and on the opposite way. We see times where they're not called. So for me, it's just a consistency. Some of these calls that don't go and some of these calls that get called are so flamboyant one way or another that, these referees are being paid a good substantial amount of money to make the correct call. And I think that's where my aggravation comes. I don't want to see anybody hurt, as you said. I don't want to see Bradshaw. I don't want to see Patrick Mahomes, body slammed on the field by Khalil Mack. I don't want to see that. But I do want to see a clean, great hit on the backside of Patrick Mahomes where the ball falls out, and he gets up, winded, and he felt, hey, you're playing professional football. I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com and Sports Illustrated. Bo, I always got to talk about the Cowboys when you join us, and another big sign or a trade to get Brandon Cooks onto the team. We talked last week about the addition of Stephon Gilmore. Might be a little too early. This feels like the year for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and they signed Ronald Jones today, the running back. The Brandon Cook's a good deal. Brandon Cook, we know his history in the NFL. He's been with 4 or 5 teams, traded one, but each place he goes, he's an 80 catch, 1,000-yard, 8-touchdown receiver. And this is what Dallas needed. And I thought the price, he already, changed the contract, so that works out great for Dallas in terms of them, having as much cap room as available. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cook, Dalton Schultz signed with the Texans, so they're going to have to, find another tight end. But this is a very, very, very deep tight end class. So, you could look at Michael Maher, the Notre Dame tight end, with their first pick, I think at 26 or 27 where they come off the board. Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. There's a lot of guys that the Cowboys are going to be able to look at on day 1 and 2 if that's the way they elect to go. So, but Brandon Cook, Stephon Gilmore, Ronald Jones, I thought re-signing Leighton Vander Esch was a key signing. I like what he's able to do at that position at the linebacker spot.
Tony Pollard locked up.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard locked up, and hopefully he comes back and, no ill effects, just him being able to kind of get back to 100%. But it's a good move. The Brandon Cook, he doesn't carry the weight as an Odell Beckham or DeAndre Hopkins. But when you look inside the numbers and you really find out what Brandon Cook's able to do, and especially on a very, very bad Houston Texans football team, he was kind of like the life pulse of that offense in terms of getting vertical and moving that ball downfield.
And that may be a sign of just how hungry Jerry Jones is for that elusive, what we would think would be final time he could clutch the Lombardi Trophy, because we know he likes jersey sales, and he would have sold more OBJ than he would Cooks.
Yeah, he would have, and that's But I applaud the decision from Jerry Jones, because I think on the outside, we think of Jerry World and Dallas and flashy and big name moves. This is a little more predicated on, we're not worried about jersey sales or the big name. We're getting a proven source at a good price. We're not going to overspend just because it looks pretty and his name's.
Jerry's all grown up now, isn't he?
Yeah. If he brings Jimmy Johnson back, he can get that 4th title. So
80th birthday party will do that to you, won't it?
Yeah.
But
Jerry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
Well, but you know what though, I've said this several times on this show though. I mean, between the Senior Bowl and the Combine, the few opportunities I've had to meet Mr. Jones. I mean, he's an endearing man. He's very gracious.
Sure is.
You would never assume that he is worth what he is. He treats you as a man to a man. And I do applaud him for that. He's very fun to be around, and I do. And
we met in his building, yeah. Bo. We met at Cowboy Stadium.
We met.
Wow.
And everything he does, Brett. See, it creates love.
He brings us all together.
Yeah.
Except for me, it seems a lot of pain and misfortune as a Cowboys fan over the years, but. But
it always feels like the Cowboys are kind of plugging the leaks in the dam, though. Mm-hmm. They had that great run of that offensive line and had Ezekiel Elliott back there.
Yep.
Really couldn't find a receiver. Now they get CD. Now they're looking for somebody else to complement him. They had Jason Witten at tight end, and then they didn't have anybody. Now they have Schultz. Well, now at running back, no Zeke Elliott. You got Tony Pollard that we love, but coming off an injury and only 192 carries in his career. Can he really be that ever down guy? Now the offensive line's gotten old and a little bit weak. It's always something with them.
It is, and that's the tricky part about football. You have a short window to find that lightning bolt to the Lombardi Trophy, and you might be peaking here and you're dragging there, and by the time you pick up what you forgot, the part that you had falls down.
It's too late.
Mm-hmm. It's too late, and everything you described, power running game. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, that run. I mean, it was just it was a fierce thing, and he's no longer there. The line's being rebuilt. And you just you don't have Amari Cooper there, who they acquired.
And we remember Zeke Elliott's last play as a Cowboy. Oh my goodness, how tragic was that play? Whoever drew that up in a meeting and said, if we're in a desperate situation, we run this, they need to be fired.
Well, maybe the person that do it is now the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers.
You're right. He may have gotten fired.
That's true. I kind of hope so. Bo, last thing for you. We talked about Austin Eckler last week. Do you think Austin Eckler is so underpaid, or do you think he's just a little underpaid?
Well, the sad thing about Austin Eckler is he plays running back. Now, he's a pass-catching running back, and he does a lot of other things. And I think that's where any team looking to pay him, that's where he's going to get his money, because he does something that very few can. He can be lined up and he can do things for a team that very few running backs are able to do. I don't know if he's going to price himself out of what teams are looking for. And, as far as I know, it doesn't seem like anybody's pressing. It doesn't seem like there's any buzz on teams showing interest. So I don't know if he's outpriced himself. He's going to have to come back down to earth and reevaluate what he might be asking for. And then not only does he have to do that, so now it's almost like the Packers and the Jets. So now we found a suitor. Now what do the Chargers want in terms of releasing him or trading him off to that other team? So some different dynamics. I told you guys when this news broke, I think he is the lightning rod to that Chargers team, and I would do everything in my can to try to appease him if I was the Chargers in terms of getting this guy, under contract. But we know that running back that position is very, diminished. It's not highly regarded, and teams don't value it and they don't want to invest it. And we've seen, especially over the last couple of years, Todd Gurley, big money, never panned out. Zeke, big money. I mean, if Zeke wasn't owed what he was, he'd probably still be in Dallas. If Amari Cooper wasn't owed, I know he was a receiver, but, the money gets too big, and that could happen to Eckler. Even if he signs that big deal and he would get a lot of money this year, next year if he's do something too large, they're going to kind of be the same way, saying, hey, you know what, we'll take the cap hit, we'll save a little bit, we'll cut the 18 and the 9, and you can go off and sign as a free agent. And I guarantee and I don't know how much time we have left, but just say like Tony Pollard. I don't really know what the free agent market is, or in terms of the tag for the backs, but say if he got $13 million, I mean, look at what all these other running backs are getting. 1 year, 3.5. I mean, it's almost a luxury to get that guaranteed money. And then you know what? Next year, if they tag you again, you're going to make another 13 plus, or they let you go and you go sign your contract. I know it's not the safety valve, but if you really look at the landscape of what these backs are getting, nobody's getting big money. And Pollard will probably get, I don't know what Miles Sanders signed for, but I think maybe 18 4 years. So you figure, I mean, Pollard's going to get 12 or 13 for 1 year. So what would you rather have? And that's guaranteed money.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, like you said, it really doesn't seem like, one of the probably top 5 backs in the league, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are jumping after him just because of kind of that price tag he's set for himself. So it'll be interesting to kind of keep an eye on and see what ultimately happens. But Bo, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week when I'm sure we'll have a ton more news as free agency and all of that continues to roll on.
Yes, sir. You guys are the best. Have a great week, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you very much, Bo Marchant, with us every week talking the NFL. We're getting closer and closer to draft. And Mel Kiper's mock out today with a lot of changes, and the Will Levis fascination. And Mel's almost leading that. And I don't second guess Mel on much, but I kind of do on this one. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test-driven and checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, head to toe, at DeSoto Auto Sales, where they have an unlimited inventory of practically every make and every model you can possibly imagine. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, and you walk in, you're treated like family by a kind, courteous staff. No high-pressure sales tactics whatsoever, really the opposite of that. But they do care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they have it so simplified and so streamlined and so efficient. You find the car you want, test drive it, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less. That's a guarantee at DeSoto Auto Sales. Time to do it over your busy lunch hour and plenty of time to do it immediately after work. Visit them at 5704 Goodman Road or call them at 662-890-7184 online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We need to get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choates Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choates is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Hey, Sports 56 fans, it's me, Johnny Radio. Come join me for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Park, corner of Park and Cherry, this Friday from 11 to 1. Come hungry, enjoy complimentary barbecue and all the fixins, and 2 chances to win 2 rounds of golf and a cart at Wedgwood Golf Course. We have 2 $25 gift cards to Neil's Bar and Grill, where the fat man rocks. We also have plenty of Malco tickets to win, gift cards to the new Sunrise Cafe East Memphis. So this Friday, 11 to 1, come join me for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Park.
Beloved former basketball coach and educator Satch Sullinger knows you got to keep moving to stay healthy. But that's not so easy when your aching joints won't cooperate.
We still want to move and we still want to get around and we still want to be active, but we start to deteriorate the moment we quit moving.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help restore movement in stiff, aching knees, hips, shoulders, and back, using only your natural healing properties to help restore damaged joints. That's a huge positive for Satch.
It's working, and what I really like about it is there's nothing foreign put in my body. Everything that was put in my body has been taken from my body. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I want to live until the day I die.
Get rid of the pain and start moving again. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
The Showboats are back in Memphis.
We can't wait to have you for the USFL.
Let's go. Ticket prices start at just $10 for their long-awaited homecoming season. April 15th starts a new era of pro football at the Liberty Bowl when the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Bring the whole family and don't miss the Showboats' historic return.
It's a touchdown!
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes. Metro Builders. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders' team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. Metro Builders, your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with Metro Builders. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Times. We got a little less than 30 minutes left in this edition of Sports Time. And during What's Trending, I kind of want to take a look at the Tigers roster and what the roster might look like going into next season. Jason Munz today put out a story on the Commercial Appeal, kind of detailing what to expect from the guys that are leaving, who he maybe expects to leave, who he expects to come back. So go over the Commercial Appeal to take a look at that. But all in all, kind of what we know so far is that we've got a handful of guys we already know is going to leave. Elijah McCadden, Alex Lomax, Kendrick Davis, KO, DeAndre Williams, and Demarie Franklin are all either
That's
out
six.
That's six. That's all out of eligibility, or KO's case, he's already said
Going
he's
to the
declaring
league.
to the league. So,
Going to the league.
Yeah.
Risky move.
We'll
but
see.
we'll see. So,
Season ticket package is available.
yeah,
That's
really.
exactly right. That's how he's going to the league.
But so that leaves up in the air, could come back, or maybe we see them leave. Keontae Kennedy, Chandler Lawson, Jamar Young, Jonathan Lawson, Ian Granja, Malcolm Dandridge, and Jaden Hardaway. So that's 7 guys, scholarship players, that you could see back on the court.
Who do you want most out of that 7 back?
In one sense, probably Keontae.
Mm-hmm.
I think out of all those, he's probably the best scorer. But in terms of probably where this conversation is going to end up, probably Malcolm Dandridge, just in the sense of you kind of need some size down low.
That's right. And it's just so few players out there that has shown. Look, he's proved that he can play college basketball.
Yep.
There's so many of large men out there that can do that.
Yeah. And kind of the question that then comes up is how much are you going to get out of him just because of injuries? I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's become a part of his career is that he is very injury prone.
He's missed a lot of time.
And it's very unfortunate. But you kind of now see an issue with this team makeup so far. So you've got 7 guys that could theoretically come back next year. But you also have 7 commits right now. You've got 5 already signed to the program and 2 that are currently committed that have yet to sign. Well, math, that doesn't add up. You have 13 scholarships. That's not going to work. So something's got to happen. You're going to lose probably a couple guys from this roster, and then you're going to bring in a lot of freshmen that you're going to rely on. The freshmen they have coming in, you've got a combo guard, a small forward, power forward, small forward, shooting guard, point guard, and power forward. Those power forwards are 6'6" and 6'7". So out of, if Malcolm comes back, who's 6'9", Jamar Young, we don't really know what we're going to get out of him. If he comes back, that's 6'10". This team next year isn't going to have a lot of depth inside, in the paint, in the front court. I think that's going to be a big issue and something that Penny's going to have to look at towards the transfer portal at.
That will make the transfer portal more enticing for Coach Hardaway, and there's a lot of stories out there. I can't tie some of them down, but there are a lot of names out there that if the Tigers get those, they can get real good real fast. The idea of maybe a little thin, sketchy playing time experience with the front court to go potentially with young guards, Brian, that scares me to death.
Scares me to death. And I wish
we've done this. We
have.
We know
we've
how
seen
this
it.
ends.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple of times now. And it's not something I really want to see. And I did this, exercise a couple months ago, and I thought I still had it on my computer, and I couldn't find it. But if you kind of go back and look at where these guys are ranked on 247, whatever ranking site you go to, if you look at where they're ranked nationally and kind of go back the past couple of seasons and see how much the guys around that same spot have contributed as a freshman to those teams, outside of you've got 26 in the country, Mikey Williams, outside of that, those guys that are around those spots of the guys coming in for the Tigers have not done much production as freshmen. And so you have a lot of people really excited about this class that's coming in, very highly rated. But half the reason it's so highly rated is because the amount of players in this class.
The totality.
Exactly. You're not going to have a lot of guys that I think you can just immediately insert and become a difference maker that we've had in the past.
This isn't Boogie or Amani are Duran is third best player, sixth best player, 19th. You're right. It really falls way down, and that's the thing about the list. Now it can cut to your favor as well. That 61st player, he could easily play into being 161st, but he also could play in the top 10.
Absolutely. I mean, you never know what you're going to get from these guys. The issue I kind of have, though, is with the amount of freshmen you have coming in and the guys returning, you see so many people talking about, Penny's really going to make a splash in the transfer portal. Well, you're going to have some guys leave the program. You don't have a lot of spots to fill because of how many guys you have coming in.
But aren't we learning this with the portal and really just through the years of that playing time, that roster stuff, it always settles.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point it looks like, just we one ball. We got too many players, and then you get down to that 6, 7, 8-man rotation max.
Yeah.
And you go with those guys. And this, with that young backcourt that it appears it could be, but with some portal news, that could get a lot more experience real quickly. But if it stays young and you have to play that schedule that they're going to have to play to prop up the net, and you got to play and you got to win those games, to go out there with younger guards against older teams. And I'm here in Missouri. I'm here in Mississippi State. You got to go to A&M. Got to, I think, have to return to Virginia Common.
Yeah, you will.
Oh, yikes.
That's tough.
You're done before you start.
When you didn't even talk about the battle for Atlantis in there, you're going to have to go that
in
early
those
in the
games.
season.
I mean, that could be 1 and 2 down there.
Could be.
What I thought last year when Kendrick Davis was announced to be coming here and all the transfer stuff, wasn't the whole thing that we wanted to skew older with the roster?
That was the mindset of Penny.
So at what point did that shift?
I don't
Because
know.
I heard a discernible shift, or as much as I could, metaphorically, I guess, in the fan base shifting from this is what we're doing now, skewing older. And I think Penny gave voice to that at some point. Shifting to, well, this is kind of, we'll get a good recruiting class back next year. This year doesn't matter as much. Next year will be kind of more back to normal. Kind of playing both sides.
Yeah.
You did hear a shift, and most of what you heard, and it's true for every fan base, is we shift and we turn and we will accept whatever is being offered from on high, from the powers that be. If I'll use Ole Miss as an example. Let's recruit a quarterback and have him in our system 3 years, and him start as a fourth-year a junior, and then again as a fifth year, and then you run over here to let's bring in hotshot national portal quarterback from wherever, whether it's USC or Oklahoma State. We go whichever way the winds blow from the head coach and the tenor and tone he sets.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, Jay, I mean, we did see that shift last year because
but not from the coaching staff. Well, I guess from the way they recruited, I suppose. You're right.
Well, but I mean, even back when Kendrick came in, it was that shift to older.
And it worked.
It did work. And Penny Hardaway, I'm not quoting him because I don't remember exactly what he said, but he basically said, we've tried the young guys. We need to get older in this conference.
Sure.
You're not going to win with young players. And the conference is changing, absolutely, but
I think the same rule applies, though.
I think it does too.
And look at the teams that compete for championships every year. Even if that's your ultimate goal, even huge conference championships, even it doesn't matter. I guess Filipowski's the exception; he's the best player on that team, but still,
it's very interesting, just kind of how much it's shifted in the past 2 years. I mean, it went from let's get older, now it's going to let's get younger, and I just don't know how I feel about the idea of, well, you're going to have a good mix this year of older and younger because, I mean, if you have the guys returning, you'll have some older guys. Chandler Lawson, you'd think's probably coming back. Jaden Hardaway, most likely coming back.
Play with his little brother.
So you have older guys there. I just think this idea that they're going to go out and get a bunch of people from the transfer portal, it can't happen because of what you've already done.
How many people you have?
Yeah, it's become a problem of too many. You got too many guys.
Unless you cut off some of the incoming recruits.
Which
is what coaches
happen,
do.
yeah.
It certainly could happen.
And that's the cold, cruel world we live in.
It is. It is.
Find somewhere else to play. Has Bronny James announced where he's going to play?
He has not. He is one of the very few still uncommitted.
Has he narrowed it down to a working list?
I don't know.
Like 9 or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he's necessarily come out and said these are my top schools.
And
I've heard a lot of
narrow.
people say it's like USC, Ohio State, and maybe one other in like UCLA or something, or like the top 3 he's locked.
Didn't I see a HBCU on a list?
It looks like according to the LA Times, he's down to 3 finalists. They're Ohio State, USC, and Oregon. Those are his 3 finalists.
Yeah. I think Mikey.
Well, all those make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Common denominator, Nike.
Yep.
One's back home to ancestral home for LeBron James to Ohio, ones where Bronny's grown up and lived most of his life, or a lot of his life, some of his life, in Los Angeles and Oregon, the mothership of Nike.
Yeah.
I've just got a feeling he's not going to play college basketball.
I don't know. I mean, LeBron keeps saying that he wants him to have that college experience.
Maybe so.
But we are kind of getting late in the game. It's almost to the point where you don't want to battle the transfer portal if you're a guy.
If he doesn't go to college, where does he play, Jay Morgan?
He could play G League Ignite. I could imagine him playing at that level.
Anyway, he just sits out and works out?
No, I don't see that as much of a likelihood. But you never know, I suppose. It's just such a opportunity, at least in my mind. I mean, he's gotten a basketball PhD from his dad, a brilliant basketball mind, so he definitely knows the game. I would just imagine it hard for people that know basketball as well as those guys do to pass up the opportunity to get professional coaching at his age. So that's why I think it would be G League Ignite.
I could see it. I mean, I could really see anything at this point for Bronny, whichever way.
He can do whatever he wants.
He really can. Nobody's going to question it, and nobody's going to tell him no. He's going to do whatever. But he's a good player. I mean, I haven't seen much of him, but what I have seen seems like he can play. But it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see what Penny can do in this transfer portal. I know there's a lot of names circulating of guys that he could go out and get, so it should be an eventful offseason for the Tigers. But let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, it'll be time for Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866 988, MSRP 22,945, K5 PG 200 400, MSRP 26,455, Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance 200. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to give Memphis your best deals at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
That's what I always do, Randy. How about a 2023 Kia Soul LX, only $333 a month and $27.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury? 2023 Kia K5 LXS, $362 a month or $31.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Or how about the 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive?
We got it at $381 per month, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And don't forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And Jeff, what if I don't see exactly what I want?
I'll order it for you, Randy, so whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Here's what's trending now. You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer. No payments or interest for 6 months. NetSuite.com/herd, NetSuite.com/herd.
Everyone loves TV Dad.
On the next TV Dad, presented by Progressive, TV Dad explains becoming a man.
Son, it's time we had the talk.
Okay, TV Dad.
You know, drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Oh, is that why my voice is changing?
That's a question for your health teacher.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/win and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the point spreads to which team will be cutting down the net. all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/win to sign up with FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-899-9789.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, what I learned today is that Fairleigh Dickinson's head coach Tobin Anderson agrees to replace Rick Pitino at Iona. So only 10 months at the job at Fairleigh Dickinson, but he's now the head coach at Iona. I heard David Cobb earlier today on John Harden's show. Jay, you were there, and I was glad to hear him say that this Tobin Anderson job was not a heat-of-the-moment decision by Iona to hire him, that he is a guy that was in the conversation when they hired Rick Pitino to get the job at Iona.
David Cobb said he was a finalist.
He was a finalist, yeah. So right there with him, obviously a great relationship with Iona, even before this year even started. And I think that's something I've heard a lot of people talk about that with Shaheen Holloway last year after St. Peter's getting the Seton Hall job. And now this Iona job. I don't think any of these hires are going to be heat of the moment. You win a big game in the NCAA tournament, and you're just going to propel that job into a bigger job. I think it's just all makes it look better, obviously, for the program. I mean, going into Iona, fans are going to be way more excited at Iona about that hire than they would have been if it was just Tobin Anderson, the head coach at Fairleigh Dickinson, who made the NCAA tournament just because Mary Mack couldn't make it because they weren't eligible by the NCAA. So I think it's a good hire. It seems like everybody who's around college basketball thinks very highly of Tobin Anderson, and I'm excited to see what he can do at Iona.
And I hope, I know Rick Pitino will want to play his son at New Mexico, and I know New Mexico has a game with Iona that was signed because of the father-son relationship. But I hope Iona goes to the Garden and plays St. John's under Rick Pitino. I think it's 17 miles from Iona's campus in New Rochelle to Jamaica, New York, where St. John's is located, but I hope they can play at Madison Square Garden. I learned last night another technical from Dylan Brooks. It's gotten expensive for him, and now it's going to cost the team. The fire burns hot with him. You don't want that changing, but we saw what a fire burning hot can do with the Tigers sideline meltdown last Friday night. It can cut both ways in sports. You like for it when it's going really well, but then when it kind of scalds you, you don't. Almost $300,000 in fines now for Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, he needs to kind of look himself in the mirror as we're getting close to playoff time, and someone needs to definitely talk to him about that. But what I could have done without Antoine Davis is upset that he didn't have the opportunity to play in a postseason tournament for an opportunity to break Pistol Pete's record. They were holding out hope maybe that they could put together a postseason tournament. They were calling teams, maybe seeing if anybody was interested at an inaugural tournament so that Detroit could play. But he talked to the Associated Press, and this is what he said. He said, "I'm upset about it. I feel like I got cheated out of something that they can't ever give back to me. I think it's selfish and weird that people emailed and called the CBI to say that we shouldn't be in the tournament because they didn't want to see me break the record. I think the bigger story is that Detroit was 14-19 this season and 9-11 in conference play. There was no reason they should be in a postseason tournament, and I think it was pretty good for people to be upset that there was a chance he could be in the CBI. I mean, I feel for him. He got so close, but at the end of the day, you can't think as a 14-19 team that you deserve to be in a postseason.
I read that story today, and I almost had it in my notes, and I thought, nope, this is where you say something you might regret. That was just a lot of nerve, especially some of those words used in that story. I could have done without. I'm sorry to see. I'm going to miss him. Dante Hightower calling it quits. As a linebacker with the New England Patriots, 3 Super Bowl wins there. He had 2 at Alabama in college, and I think he's part of the cornerstone, the 4 fundamental building blocks of what Alabama now enjoys under this tsunami of greatness for Coach Nick Saban. I think those 4 players were Dante Hightower, Mark Ingram, Julio Jones, and Memphis Barrett Jones. What those 4 did, it started all this championship legacy at Bama with Nick Saban.
100%. Well, we're going to keep an eye on not a ton tonight. We got 2 games on NBA TV, the Cavs and the Nets, and the Celtics and the Kings tonight on
Go
NBA.
Kings! Go Celtics! Go Celtics!
Yeah, we're big Celtics fans tonight.
And World Baseball Classic.
You going to be tuning in tonight?
I'm going to peek in right now.
Love it. Oh, I love that. First pitch in just a couple of minutes. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll be back here again at 3 o'clock tomorrow.